Welcome back, comrades. How's everyone doing? Now, I'm on my own for this show tonight until I invite the Guardians in, but for just a moment, let's have a little musical start. I know Emma Beats isn't here, but what can I say? Let me know, everyone, that can hear that clearly. This is Rise Above on a Monday night. It's a special. Light Blue Peter. Here's one I prepared earlier. I got this perfect a minute ago with Master Lee. I'm probably going to muck it up now. This is World War 33. Welcome, Rise Above. This is World War 33. They crawl on hands with dirty knees, climbing dirty trees with more than 32 degrees. Tell Kissinger, tell Zabrinsky, silent weapons ain't hurting me. My name is Double LMC. I'll never be a refugee. Release you from your earthly needs, spilling beans on dirty beats. Listen as the world recedes. This is World War 33. No more pilgrims journey east. Survivors will have sturdy genes. Refusal of the dirty deeds. Victims screaming, mercy please. In asymmetrical warfare, we don't fire missiles land to air. I know projectiles air to land. Let me elucidate and expand. Silent weapons for quiet wars. Epic violence will silence yours. Invasive procedures prying doors. Violating your bio clause. Schwabian tech permeates your pores. Severing souls straight from their source. Violating all natural laws. You're a fourth industrial whore and a slave to the forum. Social credit points scoring. That protein block from yesterday morning came with a carbon reduction warning. Who? The carbon is you. Fourth industrial biofuel. The moon is hungry, he gotta eat too. We can't deny him of his gruel. Yeah, food for the moon. I literally explained it on this tune. I feel it might be too much for the room, but they're gonna learn soon. This is World War 33, and I'm a general. Double LMC, salute and march with me. First we animal, then we ascend. This is World War 33, and I'm a general. Double LMC, salute and march with me. First we animal, then we ascend 3D. Gosh. Welcome to Rise Above, everybody. Like Blue Peter, that was one I prepared earlier. Welcome to Friday night. Friday night is Monday, holy shit. Okay, I'll tell you what, let me invite Master Lee in and I'll just get rid of this. Salutations, Inner Guardians.
Salutations. Privyet.
I had you turned down there. Let me get rid of this music. It's hard with just me here. So welcome to this Monday night special, and let me just get everything sorted. So
Monday's the new Friday.
Monday's the new Friday. I tell you what, we are absolutely spoiling everyone with Rise Above at the moment. You know, we're having Wednesday nights. We've got a Monday night special, another show in 2 days. But obviously,
can I just pause you there?
Yes.
There may not be a Wednesday.
There may not be a Wednesday.
Not after tonight's show, no.
Oh right, okay, yeah. We might get pulled. We might get pulled off the air forever. That's a very, very good point. Okay, so we've got a lot to get through. We will be having Professor Wolfie jump in with us as well. We always, when anything to do with conflict and where aircraft are involved, we always invite Wolfie along because he's sort of like our affiliate engineering, aero engineering expert, shall we say? Right. So let's share the screen. Right. So tonight, as you see from the bars, right, World War 33. And I know what people are going to say. Lance, I just love 33. You just say, I'll show you why this is World War 33. Now, obviously, right, as I mentioned before, perhaps I need to... Oh, Wolfie. Here he is. Welcome, Professor Wolfie, to the panel. Can you hear us? I'm sure he'll say hello in a minute when he's worked out how to get his microphone working. Let us know how we're sounding, everyone in the chat. So I thought I'd just big up Virus Man 2021 for the meme that is the thumbnail for the show. It's a picture of Boris dangling outside of number 10 with the yellow and blue of the Ukraine flag and a bunch of neo-Nazis. Neo-Nazis, you might cry, what are they doing there? Well, all will become more obvious as we go through the show because there's a lot of different aspects to this current, what should we call it, Master Lee, this current stage of the clown simulation. If you want to put it like that. Yeah,
it's quite a good descriptive. Going back to the World War 33.
Yes.
just interesting thing for you. How many letters in the Russian alphabet?
I have no idea, mate.
33.
Oh, is there really? 33 letters in the Russian alphabet? Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's an interesting little tidbit of information.
Used to be 32, and then it got changed, I believe. I think it was after during World War II.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, there's an interesting.
Somebody's been dabbling with a bit of magic, maybe.
Someone added the extra letter to complete the double triad. So yeah, we've actually got 3 Rise Above shows on the horizon. Obviously tonight's Monday night World War 33 Ukraine special. On Wednesday, if we are not taken off the air, we will be returning with the second part of Master Lee and I's chat entitled Deep, where we're talking about ascension. We're talking about non-physical bodies.
It could be worse than being taken off the air. We could be taken off the realm.
Yeah, deleted in more ways than one. And then our next Friday night special comes back on March the 11th when we invite the legendary Terror Slim. Terror Slim is coming, potentially he's going to come to the studio and he's going to be telling us about his conflict with the UK hip-hop scene and the dark occultists within it, as he describes. And it has been an epic battle. I cannot wait for him to come down and tell us all about it. So, I'll just start with this. A guy with an actual PhD in memes says that memes have the power to overwrite history. I'd like you to keep that in mind tonight. We are going to start... Yeah, okay. So I think this is from Rise and Shine. Rise Above versus the Soviet Union. Right, tonight there's a caveat at the start of the show. This is a very serious topic. I'd like to point out, and I hope we're on the same page here in the Guardians, right, that at no point tonight we're actually suggesting that this is a fake conflict and it's all media manipulation and no one's getting hurt and no bombs are going off. I don't think we're trying to say that at all. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair to say, yeah.
That's fair to say.
There's always victims.
There's always victims. But obviously we're going to be commenting on what is actually potentially happening, because I think it's fair to say by default anyone watching this show will realise that we're obviously being completely lied to. We're going to be talking about the reaction to it from the normosphere, right? And we're going to be talking about how that relates to the Soviet Union. We're going to be talking about the neo-Nazi element to this story. We're going to be talking about the biolab element to this story and a whole host of other things as well. But some context. Let's start off with some context, right? If at any point anyone gets offended because they think we're showing memes or joking while bombs are dropping, well, guess what? Everyone else was laughing and joking while bombs were dropping in Somalia, in Yemen, in Israel, Israeli airstrikes in Damascus, in Syria, sorry. So, you know, there's some context to be had here. Yes, a conflict is going on, but we, as any time, we want to get to the bottom of it. We want to dive down the rabbit hole and get the whole rabbit out. So that's why we're here tonight on a Monday night. So thank you everyone for joining us, 274 people. Okay, obviously, right, we're going to start with some memes because we need to loosen up the pressure a little bit. And there have been some absolutely outstanding post-apocalyptic level memes coming out from World War 33. I stand with Ukraine. I think that's anti-Crane and Ed the Duck. So this is anti-Soviet. This is obviously a really seminal piece here. It's the classic Indiana Jones meme. We've already had climate change being swapped with the molecule. Now it's the Ukraine conflict being swapped with the people's molecule. So I think that's pretty poignant. Big up anti-Soviet.
One of the big giveaways of like a psyop or something that's controlled from hidden hands is that it always generates a 50-50 split or division. So it's almost like Brexit all over again, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say that's a fair assumption. But
with bombs.
Yeah, but with bombs. So watching the mainstream media is a little bit of white paint. You know, you're painting on round eyes and red lips, fearful of World War III. Adding I stand with Ukraine Facebook banner is basically halfway clown, and believing Putin is the real enemy is all the way clown, according to Rise and Shine. And obviously he's got the clown world meme here as well. So, I mean, I find it pretty outstanding how everyone has suddenly just replaced one set of programming with another. That is something that's pretty outstanding to me, how effortlessly that happened. Especially with people online, you know, all of a sudden they've swapped the Soviet Union for another program.
You remember last Wednesday I mentioned about how events come into everybody's life to kind of challenge and test them. Well, this is kind of a collective event done on a collective basis. So what you're seeing is the manifestation of a collective, which would be comparable with what everybody experiences on a day-to-day basis as an individual.
Hello again to Wolfie. Have you sorted your microphone out yet, mate? Wolfie, go to the settings and sort your microphone out so we can hear you. Yeah, so all of a sudden they've swapped their face mask for a Molotov cocktail and a Kalashnikov AK-47, apparently. We'll be talking about that aspect as well. about people getting called up to apparently, volunteer their life to this moon harvest. Wolfie, I'm going to text you my phone number, and then you can call me on the phone, mate. What were you saying again, Master Lee? Let me just sort this issue out. Sorry.
Yeah, so what we're witnessing is similar to what I mentioned last Wednesday when I said that everybody experiences as an individual events on a daily basis to test and challenge them, to it's an opportunity to develop something greater, into something greater.
Yeah, it's catalyst once again, yeah?
Yes, but what this would represent is a collective version of it. So it's testing humanity rather than the individual.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
As usual, most people fail.
Unfortunately,
it's a wasted opportunity, and there are casualties in many ways. First thing being the truth, and then it goes on from there.
Well, that's a very famous saying, isn't it? The first casualty of truth is the first casualty of war is the truth, and there's no truer saying than that. So this meme is absolutely spectacular.
The interesting thing, though, right? The interesting dynamic to what we're witnessing now, which previous conflicts never really had, especially like World War I, World War II, revolutions, the downfall of communism, and so on and so forth.
Sorry, I'm just calling Wolfie. Carry on, mate.
Yeah, is that we have the internet.
Hi, Wolfie.
Hello.
Welcome to the panel. Welcome back to Rise Above, Wolfie. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. Good.
Excellent.
You're very quiet, though.
We're very quiet. Okay. Let me see if I can turn that up a little bit. Is that any better? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, that's a bit better.
Excellent. Okay. So, we'll be coming to some of the evidence that you've sent through to me throughout the show, Wolf. So feel free to chime in at any point. A collective test of people's perceptions, of people's compliance, of people's ability to effectively process reality, in my opinion.
Yeah. Just quickly, somebody's mentioned in the comments that Putin is a student of the WEF. I believe you're going to talk
Absolutely.
about the WEF.
Oh, yeah, we've got a whole section about who Putin is. And obviously, we're here to ask questions tonight. We're not here to necessarily tell anyone anything, all right? Big up Rise and Shine and Sam Carno for this epic meme of Lord Master Ginny operating the moon harvest. Yeah, it's decent.
There's one meme that's missing.
What's
I have
that?
not seen. I was really expecting to see Chris Whitty in the Ukraine in combat or something like that. He's gone missing, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, Chris Whitty has gone missing. Have you seen Chris Whitty, Professor Wolfenstein? Have you seen him at all?
No.
It's a saying that he's gone
missing. He doesn't
exist
anymore. He's just not needed.
Served his purpose.
He's not needed with this psyop now. Yeah.
And
that's it. He served his purpose.
Dr. Hillary is a medic, apparently, on the front line.
Like a chaplain.
Well, I think he's gone missing as well, hasn't he?
What, old Hillary Jones? Well, after he ripped up the yellow card reporting system live on breakfast TV, that's really sort of putting yourself in a Brizzler as Terra Schlimate, because you're about to get blazed. When you do something like that live on TV, saying this is nonsense, this is a conspiracy theory, and it's the yellow card report. So, good riddance, I would say.
Yeah.
Can you stop playing keyboard on your phone, Wolfie? We can hear that. So we've got Lord Schwab here doing the Kansas City Shuffle. Everyone looks right while you go left. Klaus the Jackal Schwab, economic hitman for the WEF, says listen and obey. This is some stellar work here from Russ Kieran. So here we've got something from Rise and Shine. Sir, we have a serious problem. NATO has just declared a nuclear war on Russia. Putin says, fuck off, can't you see I'm catching up on Children of Adrian, Rise Above episode 57. He sat at a desk watching Cheap Farm. That's classic. I don't really need to repeat what it says on the meme on the right, really. Everybody can see that. When you're suddenly supporting the same folk that just gave half the world Adrian. Damn. That's not a Rise Above meme, by the way.
It shows it's working.
It does show it's working. I guess that means it's working.
All of it.
Holy shit. Yeah, well, I mean, look what's happening. The greatest apocalypse ever is definitely working, isn't it? It's getting results. It's definitely going where it was supposed to go. That's for sure at the moment. Right. So I need to get through these memes so we can get down to business. This is epic. My tough response will be not to offend. So this is Biden's response to Putin's aggression. I've said something, what was it, like Putin's international hate crimes will be no match for Biden's equality bombs or something like that. And it's got Ellen DeGenerate at the cannon. Epic.
The sheep farm in the house.
Yeah, big up Sheep Farm in the house. Don't forget to check out Sheep Farm studios.co.uk for all of their videos that don't appear on you-know-who-tube. Even Al Gore won't take Sheep Farm. They're just totally incompatible. I thought this meme on the left, first of all, was particularly fantastic. You've got the latest developments in the Ukraine, which is like that sort of spiralling portal of the hypnotist, which is the BBC, sucking everyone's NPC attention into a void, while Lord Schwab and Jacob Rothschild are just cleaning up with their Britney Spears wheelbarrow. Fucking hell. That's really good. Sagehead, you've killed it. And on the right here, I believe this is this like some Italian fascists getting hung? And we've got like Lord Schwab, Health Chancellor Gates, Boris, with the Rise Above crew sat on the roof. Thanks to Auntie Coviat for that one. Yeah, brilliant. This is epic. This is epic Coviat. Here we have Steven Seagal being sort of accosted by the Klitschko brothers and Alexander Usk, while Chuck Norris is coming down the stairs. Master Lee, can you explain this meme, please?
Yeah.
The story behind the meme.
Steven Seagal is actually good friends with Putin. So there was
really good friends with Putin, right?
Yeah, they're kind of martial art buddies. Because for those that don't know, Putin's very much into the martial arts. In fact, he watched one of my MMA fights in Russia once.
Wow, Putin has watched Master Lee fight. Heavy.
Yeah, I used to fight out in Russia.
Gosh. Well, I guess if you're big in Russia, Putin loves fighting, so by default, he's going to come and watch a few of Master Lee's fights.
Yeah, well, this is something that people have got to really factor in, especially if you're going to fight against the Russians. They kind of view fighting differently to what we do in the West or in England, especially.
Okay.
Anyway, going back to the meme, Steven Seagal, there was a photograph or Photoshop of him looking like he's preparing for war with Ukraine on the Russian side.
And I believe Joe Rogan shared it, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's real or not. But what I do know is that Chuck Norris did actually try to go to Russia years ago to open a casino, but he got chased out by the local Russian mafia. So I think Chuck Norris is out of the equation with this one.
I was saying that Steven Seagal probably went to Russia and Putin gave him a free casino. Just off, here you go, it's on the house. Chuck Norris didn't even get a look in. At the end of the day,
he got chased out of town.
Yeah, well, is it? Do you know if it's true that Steven Seagal was actually a Navy SEAL or not? Because I know Jesse Ventura apparently got properly called out and for being what was it, a Walter Mitty or a fake military man. Anyway, we're transgressing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry. So right. So yeah, now we're coming into the whole thing about what's been going on with masculinity in the West compared to what's been going on in Russia, and that's where these next memes sort of come from. So yeah,
what I just said.
Yeah, exactly.
What I just said.
Yeah, absolutely. A totally different culture has been fostered on the other side of the old Iron Curtain. So yeah, Ukraine orders all men aged 80 to 60 to serve their country in response to Russian invasion. Meanwhile, a group of local activists are tuned in live. Do you think we should help? Not me. I identify as a PCR test. And on the right hand side, we've got an NPC face, which is looking on bombing of the whole of Middle East, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 countries, totally ashen face, no problem at all. And then Russia bombs Ukraine, and we all know what the response has been. It's been unanimously on the side of Ukraine. Now, I just want to say something right before we go any further. Why have none of... I know we've asked the question, we don't need to, but why have no normies asked the question that why is the whole of the media, by default, completely and utterly siding with Ukraine unanimously 150%? Why no one inside the mainstream media there has not been a sniff of any even question as to why we should be supporting Ukraine over Russia. Hasn't even been questioned.
I believe Russia today got a threat, didn't they, that they were going to be taken down if they went against the narrative.
I'm surprised they haven't already been taken down. Well, you know, they're taking Russian vodka off the shelf. So
yeah. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the economics side of things. I'll do it a bit later on, but it's quite interesting. And it actually does reveal major bad decision making and desperation from Western leaders.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a big gap in between where the West and the East has been going with regards to men and their relationship with manly things like fighting. That goes without saying. So, Premiership footballers to perform Ukrainian Shumka dance before all matches this weekend to virtue signal support for war-torn nation. That's from Neil Ferguson's calculator. And then we've got Xi Jinping. When you look at Ukraine and start getting hungry for a Taiwanese. Virus man's back in the game. So here we've got Biden's central bank, Kiev. My crack pipe doesn't fill itself. Invest in Ukraine like me and get your rocks for free. Sagehead's epic work.
Do you think it's a bit of a coincidence with all the Hunter Biden stuff and Ukraine a couple of years back?
Yeah. Well, it's obviously setting the stage for all of this is what's happening now. And these memes are sort of setting the stage for the different subjects that we're going to be talking about surrounding this whole Ukraine debacle and, you know, the whole Burisma energy, you know, because the big in the normosphere, this is all about the gas pipelines in Ukraine, right? That's why Putin wants it. That's why Putin wants Ukraine, is to control the gas. Well, what was all the gas contracts? Who were they? That's Burisma. That's the whole Hunter Biden thing. That's the billions of dollars that went missing in Ukraine, like this huge scandal, a huge corruption scandal that dwarfs anything that we've ever really even heard about in the West. Apparently, it's that big. So this is to say it's been an invasion is pretty short-sighted, really. And obviously, you know, we had overnight a complete unanimous switch of everyone from being worried about the Soviet Union to being worried about the Ukraine. For us in the UK, we're in an absolutely unique position, right, of having the day that they announced all of the Soviet Union restrictions to end, the very next day, the war in Ukraine was started, literally the same day. The next day, sorry. Yeah, probably just a coincidence. So, yeah, the UK government has got this whole campaign, the blue and yellow campaign. The UK stands with Ukraine. Never forget our heroic graphic designers and PR firms in the West who fought bravely today, says Lauren Southern. She's a right-wing supremacist, apparently. And here we've got anti-Soviet. The UK stands with ukulele, and there's a picture of Boris, like a Norman Wisdom or something. Holy shit. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting, a little bit dark, okay? Because we've got things like Forever Pride, Forever Ukraine, but Ukraine are flying flags that don't really embody those qualities, you know. As we can see, this thing here on the left, A30B, I don't think that's how you pronounce it. I know Wolfie's going to talk about these guys a bit. And that symbol there, that looks a bit suspect, doesn't it? Okay, more on that soon. So here we go, right? I'll start to introduce the neo-Nazi thing here. On our friend here on the right-hand side, George Soros, or Georgie Schwartz, as he's originally called. It's important that both transatlantic alliance, the United States, Canada, and the European Union, and the United Kingdom, but also other nations, do their whatever is in their power to support Ukraine in this existential threat. Putin's actions are a direct attack on the sovereignty of all states that were once the Soviet Union and beyond. Allowing Putin the six, blah, 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 George Soros. What a surprise. What a surprise you love Ukraine. Probably one of the only European countries you're not banned from. So, yeah, Trump was literally Hitler. But now the same people are literally saying the freedom fighters in Ukraine are glorious heroes. The problem is they're flying swastikas. This is a big problem. This is a computing error. This is an NPC normie computing error. You are now literally supporting Nazis. Apparently, now people are going to say, "Oh, this is crazy." How could you? How could isn't the president of the Ukraine a Jewish actor? How could he be working with Nazis? I've got some bad news for you. That's not the first time that's happened. Right. So I said to Sagehead, I said, I want you to commission the most SJW, all-inclusive, new Ukrainian frontier flag that ticks every single equality box going, right? It has to be all-encompassing. Sagehead came up with this. It's the Black Lives Matter Soviet Ukraine, hashtag I've virtue signaled... I've virtue signaled for Ukraine, hashtag... Sorry, it's too much. Yeah, so this is going to be the new profile picture for everyone that just hasn't got time to keep changing their profile picture when the program changes. What do you reckon, Master Lee? Do you reckon this has got legs?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've lost a few. Excuse me. I've lost quite a few friends on Facebook this week. Mainly because they've changed their profile pictures or background banners, and I've actually called them out on it, asking them, are they happy to allow Ukrainians to stay in their spare room when they come here?
Yeah. How many Ukrainians are you going to be taking in?
Yeah,
and it's like,
okay, we're set to be taking maybe 100,000.
Yeah, it's the rife virtue signaling. It's pretty sickening, honestly. To be honest, like the way
what people don't realise is the actual landmass size of the Ukraine.
It's absolutely massive.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest. It's bigger than probably any European country. I'm not sure of the population, but it's a big landmass.
Yeah, it's massive. Okay, so yeah, here we go. I mean, this is the first of the neo-Nazi memes. So yeah, I stand with Ukraine. Well, this is what the Ukrainian National Guard looks like. This is literally the Ukrainian National Guard. If you don't believe me, we'll go into this. We've got Wolfie has got all of the screenshots before they're going to get erased from Wikipedia about exactly who the Ukrainian National Guard are. And this is an epic bit of work here from Becky S. We called this the Battle of Brynitsky. So yeah, basically, there's going to be a problem with soldiers who have been to the Britney Spears concert, because they will, they're not going to be faring very well on the battlefield compared to other people. That's probably quite a fair assumption.
Just going back to the banners thing on social media.
Yes.
An ex-friend of mine, until today, they put a picture as their background, and it was actually a fake image. When I exposed it to them, they actually said to me, they don't care that it's fake.
Yeah.
They don't care that it's fake. They actually said that to me. They like the picture.
They don't care that it's fake.
Yeah,
Andy
they
PG's
like
just called in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Am I live from Rise Above?
Yes, you are. Please don't say fuck all bugger. Yeah, all right, Andy, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm sorry I can't be there in the studio tonight, guys. I've got a very early start tomorrow. I'm leaving at 3 a.m. However, I would like to chime in on tonight on what's going on, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
I would. I'm not going to be too long on the phone, because I really want to see what you've got in the pipeline for the presentation tonight, because I know there's going to be a lot. However, Master Lee, I'd like to just quickly chat about what you elucidated on in our private chat over WhatsApp. Honestly, I think you hit the nail on the head with what's going to happen, and that is again, Lance, I'm sorry if I ruined anything in the presentation saying this too early. However, I think it's very valid, and let's just get into it. What if Russia lose? Then who's going to roll in and take over? Who's going to stroll in there? It's going to be the UN.
Yeah.
This is exactly what Master Lee was alluding to the other day on our private chat. That this is one step towards the New World Order, world collective government. At the moment, Russia's very out of the West political system and all of that shit. But what happens if Russia conveniently loses? Who's going to stroll in and take over and call the shots? It's going to be the UN. They're going to be part of the UN and NATO and all of the rest of this European bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like Putin versus, in a sense, you could say it's Putin versus the New World Order.
That's it. And let's not forget what our friend a couple of weeks ago, John Hamer, said on the show about Hitler. Hitler wasn't playing ball with the New World Order. He didn't, there wasn't a centralised bank in Germany, and that's why he went against them. So, what's going on with Putin?
Putin's already been compared to Hitler, mate. It's already happened.
Yeah, of course he has. Of course he's been compared with the man with a tash. But again, Lance, what you posted on Facebook the other day with the, again, very coincidental and convenient, the sites of the Russian strikes on the coincidentally same locations that where US biolabs are hosted.
Yeah, I'm going to be showing all of that as well. Yeah, it's there's a lot of different stuff going on here, mate. It's but none of it is what's being talked about in the mainstream media.
No, of course it's not. That's what I'm saying. And sorry, like back to very basic first principles. Actually, look at what's going on with the media. If the media has slanted someone, you can guarantee that they've inverted it and they're actually trying to do the world some good.
Yeah. By default, that's what we should expect. The boogeyman is likely to be the relative light bearer. We say relative. I don't want anyone to think that we're just pro Putin because the mainstream media is telling us he's the devil. We're trying to look for the third option.
Exactly. We always take the third option. That's what we do here on Rise Above. But by absolute default, like you said, we should just be very, very wary about what's going on with the mainstream media because they're slating someone, and we all know how these people like to invert everything.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. No, I totally agree.
So, guys, I'm going to leave it at that for tonight, and I'm going to sit back and watch the show, and I'll look forward to that, and I'll speak to you guys soon.
All right, nice one, mate. Cheers for calling in, Andy. See you next week.
That's it. Rise above. Rise above, guys.
Big up Andy PG. So, Wolfie, you can call back in now. Well, Andy's covered some of the things we're going to talk about tonight and more. And I'm in total agreement. We should really, by default, expect that the mainstream media is lying. Just going to call Wolfie back. So what have we got next here? Yeah, the Battle of Britsky. And here we've got all of our favourite players stood around saying next we'll play the World War 33 card. Biden, Lord Schwab. Now this has got Putin in the same lineup. So we will have people watching the show right now that go, "Nah, you're getting it wrong. Putin's part of the show." And I'm not saying that's not the case. What I would say it's about levels of understanding. At one level, the agents of the denying force, the world leaders, the players, may think they are working against each other. At a higher level of understanding, when you're the real owners and you sponsor both sides of the war, it doesn't matter who wins because you always win anyway. So you could say that anything that happens is by default going to be part of the show. Anything that really happens on the world stage is going to advance the Great Reset now because the wheels have been set in motion anyway. So we're going to be showing stuff that we might be saying is contradictory with regards to how we're looking at Putin. But that's because we might be looking at different levels of observation. Am I making sense in the Guardians?
Yeah. Well, you're describing order out of chaos as the first thing, and the controllers of both will control the result of both sides. Now, as Andy PG mentioned, I alluded towards potentially Russia could lose, and it could be a deliberate plan for Putin to take this direction. But I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it is a potential. And like Andy said, if Putin loses, who's going to take control of Russia?
Yes.
It'll be NATO and the UN straight away.
Yeah.
And that could potentially usher in the one world or the new world order. I mean, what you got to think about, because people always talk about the new world order or the one world government and stuff like that. Well, what would it look like? How would they bring it in? It might look like this.
Yeah, it could look a lot like this. Because really,
people always sort of talk about things as though, like especially with conspiracy stuff, as though it's going to happen in the future. Well, there there was probably people during World War One, World War Two that were sitting there going, well, in the future, well, actually, it's World War One,
Yeah,
World War
the
Two right now.
protocols of the elders, learners, the learned elders of Zion, right? That document has been around for over 100 years. That's what's happening now. Well, okay, it's not the Muslim world versus the Christian world, but you could say it's the Christian world versus the Satanist world. It's more like that, because really, what Putin represents, whether we like it or not, is the last bastion of Orthodox Christendom in the world.
Mm.
He represents the Eastern Orthodox Christian Church. And he represents Christian values. And hey, we're not Christians here; we're syncretists. So we're not falling on either side of this divide. We don't really have a horse in the race when it comes to any religious conflict. Being a syncretist, but it's very interesting. And Putin has apparently talked about this being a satanic. Is that not right, Wolfie? Is there quotes where he talks about this being a satanic new world order, or is that rubbish?
Well,
is Wolfie there? Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, is that
Keep
Wolf?
dropping out.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I don't know why. Wolf, is it true? Have you ever heard that Putin has actually quoted that it's a satanic new world order? Because I've seen the tweets and the screenshots, but I don't really know the validity of it. I know there was a few speeches we were sharing around earlier. But have you heard him say?
Yeah, I did a little bit of a deep dive on this, and I've seen a few articles. It seems to be the same article repeated in different sources.
Yeah.
Saying that Jacob Rothschild accused him of being a traitor to the New World Order. And then I saw another article saying that he's banned all the Rothschilds and Rothschild dynasty from Russia.
Yeah, well, I've read stuff
Whether there's any truth.
that he kicks out a lot of Rothschild oligarchs in the 90s, or Rothschild middlemen. I read all that stuff as well. But then you got to think, is this sort of territory taking on Putin's behalf, because he's essentially like a high level gangster as well,
Well, one thing that I noticed about a few weeks ago or whatever, he made an address to the World Economic Forum, didn't he?
I think we might have.
And he hadn't made an address to the WEF in about 10 years.
Yeah.
And this was the first time he'd made an address to the WEF.
Yeah.
And he basically said, your globalism has ended.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah. No, I've got a video here actually. I don't know if you sent this to me or in a Guardian's.
Евроатлантические страны фактически.
Who sent this one? Is this where he talks to the World Economic Forum? Can you see the screen, Wolf? He's talking about Euro-Atlantic. Yeah, let me play this for a minute. Let me see if this is the right one.
Пошли по пути отказа от своих корней, в том числе и от христианских ценностей, составляющих основу западной цивилизации. Отрицаются нравственные начала и любая традиционная идентичность, национальная, культурная, религиозная или даже половая. Проводится политика, ставящая на один уровень многодетную семью и однополое партнерство, веру в Бога или веру в сатану. Эксцессы политкорректности доходят до того, что всерьез говорится о регистрации партий, ставящих своей целью пропаганду педофилии. Люди во многих европейских странах стыдятся и боятся говорить о своей религиозной принадлежности. Праздники отменяют уже. Или называют
Yeah, we're back. I'm just playing this video. I think this is the one you sent me. He's talking about how basically they've been pushing satanic values like paedophilia, banning Christian holidays. It's basically him sort of renouncing cultural Marxism. Is this the speech you're talking about?
No, there's one where he sat down and it was over Webbling.
Oh, right.
Literally within about 3-4 weeks ago. It's that recent.
Oh, right, okay.
And he's said your globalist plan has failed, basically. And today, I mean, you can even see today, last week, I did a bit of a deep dive, who members of the World Economic Forum, and I posted it on my Facebook of our politicians in the Conservative Party who are actual members. I went through the whole of the Conservative Party, and I went through Putin, and he was there as a member of the WEF.
Yeah.
Today, it's been removed.
Yeah,
And
wait a minute. Let me
Putin.
find that. Let me find it. I've got that here. I have the screenshot, so I can show what we're talking about as we get it. Yeah, because we talk about history being erased and rewritten a lot on this show. I'm sure we chatted to it when you've come on before, Wolfie. So you always take screenshots now, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to capture as many screenshots as
Here we go.
as I
Here it
possibly
is,
can.
mate. This is what you found. So this is the one on the left is previous, his previous profile on the World Economic Forum, and on the right hand side is the search that you did today, and you screenshotted it to me immediately, and you said, "Look, I told you." This is what you said to me today, wasn't it?
So that actually sort of suggests to me there's truth in what's going on.
Yeah, me too. I'm starting to lean to the fact that he might be a renegade.
Yeah, I think he is. I honestly do. I mean, just this evidence. And also, today, there's been some huge events happening. Today,
Okay.
they've taken him off the SWIFT system. And you know about the financial transaction system.
Yeah.
Right? However, he's gone straight in. He's addressed his own people and said, don't worry about it. We've got our own system. And China are also involved in this. It's the CRIPS, CIPS, which is an alternative to the SWIFT system. So don't worry about it. Don't panic, everybody.
So this has got
Russia, China, and India are forming a new triad, aren't they?
Yep.
Oh yeah, look,
And
here it is.
They're big countries, aren't they?
I have it right here. So this is from someone called Gold Telegraph. It says the US dollar is down against the yuan today. I didn't pronounce that right. The Russian central
bank.
There
was a post recently as well on Salamata, and it's talking about Putin or Russia adopting Bitcoin and gold.
Wow.
As well. And the difference between Bitcoin and what they're doing here now in the UK, they're talking about a digital currency propped up by the banks, which is programmable. And as far as I'm concerned, that's not a currency; that's a coupon.
Yeah, that is a coupon. You're absolutely right. That's the Schwabian crypto shekel, isn't it? Where you can only spend it on what your health app tells you, or something like that. So yeah, so the Russian central bank governor said they have a system that can replace SWIFT internally. Looks like we lost Wolfie again there. Weird. All right, we're jumping around a little bit now. Let me get back to where we were, so I don't want to jump ahead too much. Okay. Oh.
Is they're bringing in a digital currency,
yeah.
You know, which is a funded by the central bank, Bank of England, and it's a programmable digital currency. And that isn't a currency at all. It's not money. It's a coupon. You know, and if they can program that to allow you to buy certain items, they can easily say, "Oh, well, sorry, Johnny boy, you've slagged off a politician on your Facebook. You can't buy bread and milk for the next 2 weeks." It's not money anymore. It's a coupon. Now, Putin has deliberately gone away from that and said, we want a decentralized financial system, a decentralized currency. And by decentralizing it, nobody can control it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not debt-based anymore.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more going on than meets the eye to this story, that's for sure.
Yeah. This is absolutely huge. This is absolutely huge. This is the collapse of financial system, and I think he's deliberately trying to collapse the ruble to bring in a new financial system, and as a consequence, I think the Western financial system will crash.
Yeah, because it'll be a domino effect, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, let's rewind.
And right now, I mean,
guy. I was just going to say, let's rewind
Yeah.
a little bit and let's talk a little bit about, because we need to do one thing at a time here. Let's talk a little bit about media manipulation and some of the absolute falsehoods that have been presented. I'll start with this one. This is one that I pulled out. This woman, some people are even claiming that this photo wasn't even originally taken this year. It came from an old crisis actor event or something. She appeared on every newspaper. Her blood is on Putin's hands. She, posed for a slurry of photographs while she was, bloodied and just come out of an explosion. Yeah, right. Looks really, really genuine. We've got this. This is the one that Inner Guardian sent to me. What have we got here? We've got people who have blatantly taken the same photo. Wait a minute. Oh, right. So the same photo is just being used over and over again.
Yeah, the dates are different.
Yeah. Who's trying to call me here? Wolfie, welcome back.
Back again.
Yeah, so the dates are different. Same photos getting used over and over again. So they're just replicating.
This happens on every event, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Look, that's what makes this so easy. It's because we know what to look for as soon as something like this happens.
But is this the media being lazy, or is this all part of the test?
Well, look, here's the thing. If the narrative was true and what was being presented to us was actually happening, you wouldn't obviously need to recycle photos or reappropriate photos, etc., etc. First principles, right? So, well, that's
being
it.
lazy and sloppy.
Potentially,
or is this how little they actually think humanity has any type of perception of reality?
or maybe it's how little they care. Maybe it's how little they care about actually getting it right. It could just be literal human, just poor performance. I don't know, but it's pretty obvious. I mean, okay, so they've reused this photo loads of times.
Yeah, but like I said earlier, an ex-friend of mine from today, they didn't care that it's not real, as long as it fitted their narrative. That's what they said that in their own words.
That's mad. That's absolutely insane.
Well,
That someone could think like that.
with all due respect, my ex-friend is actually a respectable member of society, educated, former military professional, triple jabbed.
Of course.
Goes without saying.
Yeah. So we've got another one here. This woman posted hours ago the current devastation in Ukraine, but the photo exactly the same has been posted in 2015. Here's the thing: we all know that there are reporters on the ground. Why don't they just take real photos? What if they don't? I mean, are we saying bombs aren't dropping?
Today I got asked to go out there on a close protection task.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said I'll go if I can take my dogs. So it's a no-go.
Okay, I think I've got a video here which I'd like to show. I think you sent this to me in the Guardians.
Kontrollieren.
In Kiew, in der Hauptstadt, wo 2,8
Seht ihr das?
Millionen Menschen.
Also das sind Explosionen in Kiew. Und eigentlich sind es Explosionen aus China von 2015. Ich meine, es ist die Bild, aber ihr glaubt doch nicht, dass nur die Bild sowas macht. Sie erzählen, also die verkaufen eine Explosion von 2015 als Explosion in Kiew.
Okay, so if you didn't quite catch what that woman was saying in German, she's basically saying that quite a shared video that's going around of a huge explosion in Ukraine is very easily verifiably a photo from 2015 of an explosion at a factory in China. Straight off the bat, she just showed that. So these are not isolated incidents. They're not isolated cases of people recycling footage. I mean, look here, they haven't even bothered to get the country right. They've used something from the Middle East from 2012. And this guy, I mean, okay, you get people who are ethnically Arabic that live in that region as well. But I mean, does this look like the Ukraine? It's a desert. They've, you know, I mean, that's. Am I wrong in saying that's super lazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but they don't care, do they?
No, blatantly
The general
not.
public don't care.
No one cares.
I also had another ex-friend say to me, "Well, Russia's definitely in the wrong," and I said, "Why?" And they said they've been kicked out of Formula One and what's the other event? World Cup or something like
the
that.
Olympics.
No, I think it was the World Cup and Formula One.
Oh, they've been kicked out of everything.
Yeah, so that by their definition proves that Russia is wrong.
Oh, well if they're not
background.
allowed in the football, and if they're not allowed to compete in bread and circuses, they must have done something wrong.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes
to convince a normie.
Okay, so another example of what we're talking about here: tanks rolling into Ukraine. Blue tick people sharing these. They're from 2016. Okay. This guy, breaking CNN journalist, and this is shared by CNN apparently. If this is, I don't know, maybe this is fake. Who knows? You couldn't even tell. Bernie Gores executed in Kabul by Taliban soldiers. Yeah, CNN Ukraine. We're really sad to say that the first American casualty of the crisis has taken place. Bernie Gores has died again. He can die twice. This guy's so tragic. I mean, I have to admit, it would be quite easy for someone to be making this as fake, but...
Is it a real face?
Yeah, maybe it's one of those...
Zoom into the eyes.
Yeah, we if it was high definition, you can zoom into the eyes according to Human Vibration, who was actually supposed to be joining us tonight. Sadly, she couldn't make it. So... Is Wolfie still there? We keep getting a weird beeping noise and then he drops out. So I have to turn the volume down and then I can't hear him. What a nightmare. So yeah, here's another example. Ukrainian soldiers leaving their loved ones to fight for their country. Absolutely heartbreaking. Bad luck. It's from a film called The War of the Chimeras, which came out in 2017. So again, super lazy. Maybe this is part of the... Maybe I would say this has to be part of the gaslighting, to be fair. Yeah, it really has to be. Okay, so as we roll with the different stories, right, this is as we move into the area of regular citizens being called up to arms, because this is weird. In any other normal, or I say normal, in any other past conflict that I've seen happening and being escalated in the mainstream media, usually they are always demonizing people that are going and fighting in the conflict, or saying that they're radicalized, or saying they're militant, saying they're probably going to get punished when they come back. Not this one.
Yeah, using
Not
PMCs
this time.
is normally a no-no.
Yeah. Sorry, what's a PMC?
Private military contractor.
Private military. Yeah, but these aren't Master Lee. With all due respect, these aren't private military contractors. They're asking for any
yeah, I know.
young man.
Saying,
it's like,
I was just saying that because they are recruiting.
Yeah, they absolutely are recruiting. Liz Truss.
It's not the Ukraine armed forces that are recruiting. It's the independent, the National Guard, if you like. The Azov battalion.
Is that how you pronounce it, Azov?
I'm guessing so. That's how I've read it.
To me, it looked like ACAB or something like that. So what have we got here, right? Ukraine. This just looks so funny. Ukraine's youngest parliament member, 26 years old, Sviatoslav Yurash, is walking down the street with a revolutionary jacket, sunglasses, looking like, I don't know, like Keanu Reeves or something, with a Kalashnikov under his jacket. He's a member of parliament.
Is it plastic?
We'll be coming on to that in a minute. I just need to go back and check these videos because you guys sent me quite a few vids and I don't want to miss them as we're going through this, right?
You know, on Sunday, the ICC normally has a day off, like a day of rest. Well,
yeah,
the ICC was working overtime on Sunday.
Oh mate, we had to work overtime as well, didn't we? Like to keep up with it. It was absolutely nuts. Okay, here we go. So this is what the mainstream media have been saying. Like, watch this.
A number of British nationals have shown that they want to join the fight against Russia in Ukraine, turning up at the Ukrainian embassy in London to offer themselves up for the military. Sky News spoke with some of them a short time ago.
Hello, yeah, we've come to join the Ukrainian army or whatever they're called. What are they called, Tom? The Foreign Legion, yeah? Thank you. Yeah. Me and
What nationality are you?
British.
And what's made you want to come here?
They look like they need help. We're young, strong, fit men. We can help, so why not?
Do you have any military expertise?
Absolutely none at all, no.
Email, letter for this address.
Yeah.
I bet they're all triple jabbed as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Now he's given us these details, which we're now going to ring. And somehow they're going to tell us what we need to do from here on.
Why have you decided to come down here today?
Well,
Because the BBC paid me £150 to come and say that I'm going to go and join the Ukrainian war.
losing their lives.
Actor.
Are you prepared to lose your life?
I think so, yes.
I used to be in the TA. I've also
Oh,
got
yeah,
a lot
right,
of
mate.
first aid training. So decided to come and do something.
And you're prepared to go to Ukraine and fight?
Yeah, I can get on a flight tomorrow.
And if you don't mind asking, how old are you?
I'm 60, which means I'm just about within the age range they'll accept.
And you're
Hopefully you
prepared
can
to
wear
put
your mask
own
as well.
life on the line?
Well, somebody has to.
How's he going to fight if he's scared of the flu?
How's he going to fight if he has to keep putting his mask up every 5 minutes? It's absolutely insane. Wolfie's still on the beeping. So,
I think it's safe to say that these are paid actors.
Oh, absolutely. I was about to say, the guy at the start, like, he looked like he'd just come out of another audition. He'd gone to like 20 auditions that day. He's already got some extra work under his belt. I guarantee if I got hold of his name right now, you could find about 5 different actors' profiles for those people. Easily.
Yeah.
No word of a lie.
Wolfie mentioned about being triple jabbed. I actually I took a lot of heat. I can't remember when it was, a couple of days ago maybe, on social media.
Happens so much.
Yeah, well, when this all kicked off, I did point out that the irony of it all is that we spent 2 years trying to save life and people's health, and then the day it finishes, we go straight into World War III. Now, on top of that, not only that, it's only the jabbed that can actually travel. So
that's so funny.
Hypothetically, you've got those that have been to the Britney Spears concert fighting each other. I mean, how ridiculous is that?
The war of the Soviet cult. Yeah,
and even in the British, just quickly in the British military, there's been over the last year with this rollout of the concerts. There's been a real big hoo-ha because you're not allowed to do active service if you haven't been to the Britney Spears concert. So
really,
those who have been sent back to regular duties have kind of been a bit sad about it. Yeah. And then World War III happens, so it's literally like only those who have been to the Britney Spears concert can actually go and kill each other. I mean, the irony is unbelievable.
The irony is so thick. Only Satan himself could come up with irony like that. It's just like, here, have this injection to save your life, so you can go and murder people, and probably die.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
amazing.
Literally like that.
So here we are. Here we are at the level of Fox News showing people with blatantly cardboard and blatantly MDF or chipboard guns. Why? What are they trying to do here? They're trying to say, "Oh, look at these poor Ukrainians. We need to send them weapons so they can fight the Russians." Currently, they only have cardboard guns, or are they just gaslighting us? Or have they used a training video? Why would you train with cardboard guns? Well, you can't afford BB guns, or even an old like replica gun or something. Like, really? I didn't know Ukraine was a third world country.
Another interesting angle is that there's reports from the media and from kind of the normosphere that Ukraine is actually defeating and winning against Russia. I don't know if you've heard those rumors.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard like that there's Russian tanks on fire and all that kind of stuff. And yet,
why, if that was the case, why would they be using conscription? Why would they be asking for the world to help them? It's a massive contradiction.
Absolutely. So here, I'll just play a quick one before we carry on because we've got quite a few videos. So we've heard that obviously people have been asked to make Molotov cocktails. Like the Ukrainian government have openly said, start arming yourselves, make Molotov cocktails to throw at tanks. Well, someone didn't get the memo. This guy, this Ukrainian guy here, obviously didn't get the memo. He's come to like the Russian soldiers and to hug them and say like, thank you. It's not the only video I've seen like that. I've seen videos of the Ukrainians doing the Sholtka dance, whatever it's called, in front of the Russian tanks. They're so happy to see them because they're getting rid of the neo-Nazis that have been, oppressing them for the last God knows how many years. So, yeah, what a shit show. Okay, where do we get to? Big up everyone tuned in. Holy shit, 495 people tuned in on a Monday night. That's definitely a record. It's Rise Above, everybody.
Rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear, rise above.
Yeah, so tonight we are chewing the caveat card with regards to the what we're calling World War 33, the Ukraine conflict. So let's get the screen back. We've got Wolfie.
Apparently,
keeps dipping in and out.
Apparently, IKEA sponsored those weapons.
Oh, what are they called? A shootle stick or something? Yeah, the stupid IKEA names. Right. So, I mean, here's a post that I put on February 24th. Oh my God, we haven't even got to World War 33 bit yet. We've got to hurry up. Right. I said on February 24th when this all kicked off, I said the Ukraine has effectively been a Mos Eisley for deep state cabal crime and corruption for decades, probably longer than that. I said billions and billions of their ill-gotten gains have been funneled through it daily. For this reason, we shouldn't necessarily think that Putin invading, inverted commas, would be a bad thing. That would be naive to think that by default. So that was on February 24th, the day after it started, I think. Right. Here's an interesting... Yes, go on, Wolf.
I was just going to go back to your point, so I missed it and I got cut off again. Back to your Molotov cocktails. One thing that struck me was actually they consider them to be very effective. If they're encouraging people to make Molotov cocktails and throw them at tanks and everything like that, they're considering them small arms fire, that is, Molotov cocktails and sidearms, to be really effective weapons, basically. That's what they're saying.
Well, yeah, effective against what? Like state-of-the-art tanks and laser-guided missiles from fighter planes?
Well, I'm guessing if you've got one tank and 5,000 people throwing Molotov cocktails and shooting their AK-47s sort of thing,
but
they're considering them to be very effective.
Or you could look at it the other way, that what they're trying to do is encourage a load of civilians to put themselves in a position where they're goading a tank or a load of soldiers with a brick or a Molotov cocktail and basically deliberately putting them in a position of danger. You could argue that if you were looking at the more dark occult sort of viewpoint towards why you would ask civilians to start making Molotovs against arguably one of the most formidable military machines on the planet. So
because there's laws, there's rules and laws in war. If you're a civilian clothing, and you don't have a weapon, you don't...
Geneva Convention.
You're a civilian. Exactly. But as soon as you attack, you become a combatant.
Yeah, exactly. So effectively, they're putting a target on the head of all of these civilians. And Putin, I mean, here's another thing that we haven't actually mentioned, which I think is very important. Who... that has been putting yellow and blue posts and putting flags or whatever on their profiles, who has actually listened to Putin's 25-minute address before he invaded in inverted commas? I mean, I've skipped through it. He talks a lot about special military operation, denazification. He talks a lot about defending Russia from an onslaught of Western aggression. He says to all civilians, please stay in your homes and keep your don't take arms. You won't be harmed. This is a special military operation. He says we're not invading. So, I guarantee 99.97% of normies haven't watched that. So
no,
make of that what you
will.
will.
What you got to understand, what people have to understand is the sort of the history and the geography of Ukraine and Russia, and that there's many Russians in Ukraine. There's many Ukrainians in Russia. There's also lots of Ukrainian Russians. I'm not sure if you're aware, but
Yes.
Mrs. in the Guardian, she's Russian, yeah.
Yeah.
But she's got Ukrainian ancestry.
Yeah.
So
Well, there's
it's not,
whole
it's not
regions
black and white.
of Ukraine that basically would actually class themselves as ethnically Russian.
Yeah, and also Kiev was the capital of Russia. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, and here's back to what I was touching on a second ago, that if you go back 1,000 years or even further, that whole area used to be known as Khazaria.
Yeah.
This area on the Black Sea, right? Now, for anyone that knows about the alternative history of this realm, the Khazars were a very important player, a very dark, important player, known as the Masters of Deceit, the Masters of murdering people, taking on their identities and acting as if they are them in history. These are the remnants, the foundation of the current dark occult cult that is in charge, in my opinion. The Khazarian Mafia, as they're now called.
Yeah,
so,
this has been a hotspot for years, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's also linked with Israel.
Absolutely, because this is the Caucasus. This is the steppes of the Caucasus Mountains where Caucasian people come from. This is a very, very pivotal part of the human story. This part of this land, it goes much deeper than human resources, lithium or gas or natural gas, much, much deeper than that. The George Soroses and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers of this world, they're Khazars. They're Khazarians. So this is their homeland.
It doesn't actually take too much research, although this type of thing is probably not taught to many people. This type of history, even to Russians, it's not normally taught. But basically, in a nutshell, what we're witnessing is the rolling out of a war with an ancient evil.
Yes, an ancient evil cult. I've started one of my more famous speeches with "We are at war with an ancient evil." Over the years, it's called itself many different names and it's worn many, many different uniforms. Okay, but at one point, you know, if anyone's looked into Shabbatai Zevi and the fallen messiah of Sabbatean Frankism, he was a Khazar. Same as Jacob Frank.
Yeah.
This is the Khazarian Mafia that people use the Z and the J word to describe nowadays, but that's a mistake. That's the 505 people watching on a Monday night World War 33 special.
Rise above, generate, rise above, extinguish fear, rise above.
Yeah, so I'll take this one down before I get taken down for a hate crime. Right, this is where...
Well, they also go under the term KM.
KM,
a lot of people
yeah.
think it means Krav Maga, but it's actually a lot more evil than Krav
yeah,
Maga.
this is the mafia of all mafias. This is who our royal family are. It's who the Rothschilds are. It's who the Roman Empire were part of. This goes really deep. We could do a whole 6-hour one about the Khazarian Mafia, but we would get taken down.
Yeah.
So, World War 33. On February 23rd, Russ Kieran, our Coviart Rembrandt, right? He posted this masterpiece, and we need to just observe. I'm not talking about this beautiful piece on the left-hand side. This is also very important too. But on the right, he posted this picture, the Greta Reset, with a picture of Greta under a Chinese and Soviet double-headed eagle, the whole Soviet thing. Now, this was posted on the 23rd of February. That's 232. So we have a 322 there. Okay? So the date of the 23rd of February, this is very important, guys, is the number 322. And we know that 322 is Skull and Bones, the death cult, which are also, guess what? In my opinion, a subsidiary of the Khazarian Mafia. On this date is when Putin made his speech. He made the speech on 322, okay? That I'm doing a special military operation to basically get rid of the Satanists. It's essentially what he said. 3 hours and 30 minutes later, after midnight when he said that, as we went into the 24th, yeah, that's right, at 3:30 a.m., is when his special military operation took place. It struck 33 sites. Now, the Satan media says that it was 33 civilian sites. Others say it was 33 military sites. But here's the important thing. He made the declaration on 322. And the very next day, 3 hours and 30 minutes in, 33 in, he starts. Putin's using 322 and 33 as well.
Gosh.
Bombshell. Okay, so this is World War 33. This is where I got the idea from these lyrics from, because it's not just that we like this number; it's that it's written into it. World War 33. Now, this is when it gets really funny, because we talk about sanctions. Okay, well, guess what? The West sanctioned the Dirty 33. 33 Russian cronies were sanctioned by Australia. Thought that, yeah, 33 officials, right? 300 politicians, 10 banks, 1 AK-47. Well, guess what? Putin struck back. He sanctioned 322 members of the Ukrainian elite. Holy shit, is anyone seeing this?
Gosh.
They are literally 33 in and 322 in at each other.
Yeah.
I'm not, yeah, it's a war of numbers. I'm not reaching here, I'm sure. So, yeah. This is why I call it World War 33, in case anybody's wondering. Yeah. Yeah, and they rolled into Chernobyl as well, and now it's all radioactive again. All the people that have been living in Chernobyl since the disaster were really surprised to hear about the new level of radiation that's going to kill them after they've lived there the whole time. Yeah, World War 33. Okay. A couple more memes. So that's the occult numerology which is involved in the lead up to this war. Because remember, the day before 322, and here's another mad thing: the day before 322 was this vortex that everyone keeps talking about. It was 222222.
Yeah.
So we had this crazy day of numerology that the whole world was looking to, that was into this stuff. The 22 day. The very next day is the 322 day. Putin declares, and then 33 into the next day, he drops a bomb. It's too much, in my opinion. It's just too much.
All those meditations that took place on 22222 didn't do very well, did they?
They didn't. They were not. They were not too successful, Master Lee. They weren't too successful. Yeah. Damn. Gutted. Really, really gutted for everyone. So. Couple of tasty memes. I want you for US pronoun training, says Nancy Pelosi. And Biden, potato head, and Trudeau blackface. Sorry, Fidel blackface. They're just stood on a pile of corpses with blood on their hands. Boris is drinking a wine glass of blood, and they're saying Russian man bad. How fitting. How fitting.
There's an occult saying, and it's salt can look like sugar.
Yes. Yeah.
Deception
is not difficult. So, here's a good one. The face when you make when you finally change your stay home, save lives and profile picture to the Ukrainian flag. Exactly the same face. And black-faced Fidel says, the simplest way to end this war in Ukraine is for everyone to go to the Britney Spears concert. No fucking surprise there.
Did you say that?
No, it's just a meme. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but look, we're living in a reality where we're not even sure whether the memes are real or not.
Well, memes create reality, as we've seen, and back in the day, reality used to create memes.
What I mean is like we make jokes with memes, but
but you have to check if they're real or not. No, absolutely.
Because that's the sort of thing that they would say.
Oh no, totally. That's the thing. Like when I read the spoof and satire papers now, like the Babylon Bee or the Onion, I don't check the headline or the name at the top. I start to read the article, and I'm like, yeah, I agree with this. And then I'm like, wait a minute, how is this telling the truth so much? And then I realise it's spoof. or it's satire. They're talking about, Bill Gates, Bill Gates' new plan is, set fire to the ozone layer and use the ethers to make this new form of gas. And I'm like, oh right, sweet. And then I was like, oh no, they're taking the piss, but I can't tell anymore. I can't tell because Bill Gates has already said he wants to block out the sun, and everyone's going to drink their recycled piss, etc., etc. Drink the water that comes off the end of the sewage pipe, whatever he was doing. He was drinking his poop. But yeah, very difficult to separate satire from reality at this point. Right, let's go into the biolabs story, because if we are not to believe that everything that's happening is part of the Greta reset, if we're not to believe that Putin is just another WEF puppet pretending to be controlled opposition or whatever, then we could consider that this special military operation is what he says it is, a special military operation. So the expose, which I personally think is a brilliant piece of media, they said, is there more to the Ukraine-Russia conflict than meets the eye? Now, a lot of this information comes from a single deleted Twitter thread, a single researcher called Clandestine. Well, a lot of people might dismiss that, of someone on Twitter. Guess what? I'm a single researcher, and I found out stuff that some people haven't found out before, and I'm just a guy with a computer, so I don't dismiss any source like that. Says he's onto something. Come across this map of biolabs in the Ukraine. Biolabs, so what? Well, these biolabs are apparently funded by the US to the tune of $2 or $3 billion.
Was it you who sent me the link, actually?
I sent you this. The picture had been circulating, and then I found this article which basically broke down where it all came from. And I just basically did what this clandestine guy had done. So we'd seen this picture, and he thought, well, okay, well, let's check this out. Is it true that the US have funded these apparent biodefense labs? And I tell you, these labs are level 2, 3, and 4. Remember, the Wuhan lab is a level 4, right? And these are all all near to the border of Ukraine. So let's have a look. Is it true? Well, if you look at the US embassy in Ukraine documents, they have a whole biological threat reduction program, and you look through it, and it says, yeah. I mean, anyone can zoom in on this. You can Google it yourself. It does say, yeah, they've invested $2 or $3 billion in biodefense labs. Now, here's where it gets tricky, because we've got to be careful what we say, right? And I'll just show you the map on the screen of where apparently the bombs have been going off in Ukraine, and then there's a map of the biolabs as well. And you can verify this. I looked at 4 of the biolabs, and it's true. Okay. Now, there is the people that believe that this really is a bioweapons war that started back in 2019. Now, Donald Trump blamed China, didn't he? But there's obviously another story that China says, well, actually, it was the US. Anthony Fauci funded this gain of function research. He did it illegally in our labs. We didn't know it was happening.
Yeah.
So if you think about what I said back here about Ukraine, where was it? The Ukraine has effectively been a Mos Eisley for deep state cabal, crime and corruption for decades. Billions and billions of their ill-gotten gains are funneled through it daily. Well, what do they use their ill-gotten gains for? Anyone can research the trillions of dollars that go missing into these black projects, where basically whatever you want to call them, the deep state or the military industrial complex of the dark cult, they do spend trillions of dollars on the kind of research that the Nazis were apparently doing. You know, every type of terrible research for every type of weapon and every form of technology that you can imagine to manipulate the human body and gain control. They're doing all of that. So, where do they do it? Well, maybe you do it in a country that's like the most corrupt country in the whole of the West, where you can do whatever you want, like Ukraine, where you've already installed a puppet government. Maybe that would be a good place to put those really dangerous biolabs.
Have you mentioned about the president of Ukraine, his previous career?
I think that's actually one thing which I didn't quite manage to get in the presentation, is the fact that the president of the Ukraine, Zelensky, is a Jewish comedian and actor, and his previous role, right before running for president, you can Google this right now. Google Ukrainian president is comedian and actor, and see what you see. The first search result will tell you that he played. He basically played himself in a movie where he was a comedian and actor, and he became a political candidate out of nowhere and run for the presidency and won and became the people's president. And I think it was even a series, maybe. So now, obviously, he is a total, bum boy of Lord Schwab and his Young Leaders Club. That goes without saying. But the guy is literally an actor. Now, to be fair, Ronald Reagan was an actor, previously an actor. Many people think he was one of the best presidents ever, apart from Donald Trump. But hey, that's down to opinion. So yeah, it's true. Anyone can Google that right now if you don't believe us. He was definitely a proper actor.
And it was all a bit dodgy the way he got in, because it was a landslide. He won by a landslide, didn't he?
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
Yeah, a slightly suspicious landslide. Set precedent. Right. So yeah, this story holds weight. The US has put billions of dollars, and we need to get Wolfie back to talk about this because this is his speciality. Billions of dollars into these biodefense labs all around the border. Wolfie, we're back. We're talking biodefense labs, mate. This is your one. Wolfie.
Yeah, there's been an overlay map, hasn't there? Where all the fighting's been, there's been an overlay map. To my knowledge, there's 11 labs.
Okay.
And some of them have been knocked out already.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 15 dots on this map. I don't know if that's strikes or labs.
Some of them could be dummy labs, maybe.
Yeah, the document from the US named 4 or 5 sites which matched up with that map, and it said about the overall investment.
Did I send you the link on from the NATO website where it's talking about the security of infectious diseases and stuff like that?
I'm not sure. I'll have to have a look in a sec. I think you did. So here, this is from the same link from that Twitter thing. It says, Putin will also continue special military operations. Says he wants to demilitarize and denazify the country, but not occupy it. What does he mean by that? What is he really targeting? We know airports and military capabilities, but if Putin really believes, as his admin has publicly stated multiple times, the US are creating bioweapons at Russia's border, then this entire situation could be way bigger. And yeah, I think that's a very fair assumption.
So it's fair to say that Ukraine has a disproportionate amount of labs.
Yeah, it's got loads of biolabs. Now, Wolfie, you said that Ukraine is not the only country that the US has biolabs in, right?
Sorry, say that again.
You said that the Ukraine is not the only country that the US has got biolabs in. Was it? Is it?
No, that's right. Because it was Sweden, and they were talking
Finland. Tamar Biolab.
Finland.
Yeah, there were 15.
And Finland were starting to get worried, weren't they, because of Russia and the border and everything like that. It borders directly up to Russia. So I started having a look, and there's a whole ton of biolabs there, loads of them, and a lot of them have been mucking around with COVID and all sorts of stuff. A lot of like a genetic biolabs too. I think I sent you that thing.
Yeah, I've got it up on the screen now.
I've often considered that when they use the term nuclear weapons, that they're often talking about bioweapons. I listened to a speech from, or a talk from Putin from a few years ago, and what he was basically explaining was that
I can't talk anymore. We're very naughty boys on Facebook.
What's that?
Sorry, mate. Go on, Master Lee.
Yeah, Putin was basically explaining, and it makes a lot of sense that it's okay for the US, UK, various other Western countries to position weapons on borders of other countries. Yeah, but Russia doesn't do that to anybody else. So why is he always classed as the dangerous guy? So what he was saying, imagine if Putin was sponsoring weapons on the border of, say, Canada to the US.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what the West have done to him. Now, when he didn't specify which weapons or type of weapons. I mean, and I think it's fair to say that the future is going to be bioweapons anyway. And not in war, but in pandemics and stuff like that. Maybe he's talking about that type of activity.
Well,
it starts to make a lot of sense. Now, the other thing is that
then it would make sense. Yeah, perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest problems is that absolutely nobody has been listening to what Putin has been saying for years. Now it's starting to make sense if you listen to some of the things he spoke about 5, 10, even 15 years ago.
Yeah. Maybe we should actually have something that Putin said, because I have got a video of this. One sec. Putin talks cultural Marxism. We've done that. Yeah, let's hear what Putin has to say here.
There is such a person in the United States, Mr. Soros, who interferes in affairs all over the world. I often hear from my American friends that America as a state has nothing to do with his activities. There are rumors circulating now that Mr. Soros is planning to make the euro highly volatile. Experts are already discussing this. Ask the State Department why he is doing this. The State Department will say that it has nothing to do with these activities. Rather, it is Mr. Soros' private affair. With us, it is Mr. Prigozhin's private affair. This is my answer. Are you satisfied with it?
So, yeah. Putin, I've listened to what Putin's been saying for years, and it's very, very interesting, especially with what's happening now. So I would say, in my opinion, that this biolab story has legs. Yeah. There's definitely something to this. Definitely. I mean, look at what's going on in the world. What was my lyric early on? I was talking about silent weapons for quiet wars. This has been talked about since the 60s. What we could be living through now is a new form of biowarfare. And this could be a tactical strike from Putin, for all we know, taking out tactical covert installations that are brewing the next 25 variants, for all we know. I'm just putting everything on the table here, remember, because we have to straddle the bridge of saying that there are real bioweapons. Some people believe that there are no bioweapons, and all of this is a media manipulation. So we're catering for everyone.
I mean, I've got a saying, it's nothing's ever wrong, it's just the context. So normally, with any situation that doesn't make sense, if you can find out what the context it should be in, it starts to make sense. So with what's happening right now, if you can find some context, it makes a lot of sense. Without context, it makes zero sense. Now, I've been saying to people, look, I'm pretty sure Putin didn't wake up the other day and say, yeah, I feel like a war, let's invade Ukraine. He would potentially have to have a pretty good reason to do it. And it's probably fair to say that happens most of the time. I don't think Putin is a psychopath. I don't think he's crazy. I don't think he's a lunatic. I think he's actually a very intelligent, calculated president or leader. So for him to actually do that, because it's a bold move to go into another country like that, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah.
Against the West. Think about it. It's not just like he's invading some despot state or anything like that. He's actually going head to head with NATO, UN, EU support.
Yeah.
US, UK.
Yeah, when we invade somewhere, it's like a collapsing regime, or a developing country, or a war zone that's been torn apart for 20 years. He's basically taken on a neighbouring nation, or what he sees as a rogue state, effectively.
Yeah.
We have to appreciate this from Putin's point of view. Ukraine is a former territory, which is now a rogue state operated by an unknown enemy, corporate enemy, that is pumping billions of dollars into biodefense labs around his border in the midst of a potential bio war.
And I think he's called their bluff because, most people would think, well, you don't want to go against the US, UK, blah, 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 because of previous things. But it's a very bold move, and I think he's called their bluff because actually, like, the USA hasn't done anything really. UK hasn't done anything. They're talking about economic sanctions. So I think Putin's got himself into a position, and I did talk about this. I don't know if I spoke about it on Rise Above, but I spoke about it somewhere else. That over the last few years, or during the pandemic, Putin's actually been very smart about things. Things like being self-sustainable and actually bringing industry, bringing it up within Russia rather than importing. So he's actually been focused on it. He even speaks of that this is the mistake that the rest of the world is their dependency on other countries.
He's been moving away from globalism slowly but surely.
Yeah. Which is quite ironic, bearing in mind that most people think and presume that Russia, because of communism, are the leaders of the one world, new world order.
Well, theoretically, they should be the biggest enemies. I mean, I've said it on this show 100 times before. Whenever I come across someone from the former Soviet Union, whether they're East German or from Central or Eastern Europe, 9.5 times out of 10, they are completely impervious to this COVID agenda. They see it for what it is instantly because they've already lived under the Soviet Union. And I think anyone that's watching that's Eastern European, I mean, everyone that's watching is in the same boat anyway, obviously. But you guys will know what I'm talking about. Once bitten, twice shy. If you've lived through a Soviet rollout once, you ain't going to be fooled by the Soviet Union. That's for damn sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So
I watched a very interesting video from Academy of Ideas the other day. Brilliant channel. I recommend it to anybody, actually. Very, very interesting. But they were talking about a parallel society. And the formation of a parallel society was how it led to the downfall of the Soviet Union. So, alternative education system, alternative medical system, alternative finance system. So if we look at what's going on in Russia now, it looks to me like they're actually creating an alternative financial system. So Putin would have seen this happen during his time in the KGB, under the Soviet Union. And that's what he's doing.
So what you're saying, that he's trying to deliberately step out of the coming global Soviet Union, which is what we call the Soviet Union. He's seeing it for what it is, and he's trying to make himself independent from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's setting up an alternative society.
Yeah.
I think some people are going to be hurt by the fact we're saying this, because we've already got comments in the live chat there. No, he's just another Rothschild puppet playing his plan. And I've toiled with that idea before.
Well, something else I'm going to throw out there to consider. Now, people in the sort of so-called truth movement, or the awakened, whatever, they're going about the one world order, the new world order, globalism, and all of those things being the enemy. But what is the tool that is used by them? It's the Hegelian dialectic, yeah?
Yeah.
How would you actually have any form of polarity, duality, or Hegelian dialectic under a one world order? Because there'd be no boogeyman.
Yeah, exactly. The Hegelian dialect is actually defunct.
Yeah. So then what? I don't hear many people from the truth movement speaking about this subject.
Well, I've often said that in a strange, perverse sort of paradoxical conundrum, the only way to eradicate the force of the parasite from global governance, and especially from banking, is actually obviously to install artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Really sorry, everyone. I've got to say that. But I'm just going to repeat what I said. the only final solution to remove the parasitic entity from global governance and world banking is to install AI. Now, I'm not saying that I want that to happen, but I'm just saying that the more and more I think about it and look into it, that's it, sort of unescapable. What else is going to do it?
Singularity.
Apart from a machine. Yeah. So yeah, we have to think about where all of this is going. Is it playing into the Great Reset? Is Putin trying to avoid being a victim of the Great Reset and having Russia enveloped within it? I mean, he's spoken out. He's spoken out against Lord Schwab, hasn't he?
I'm sure it was on Rise Above that I mentioned. I think it would have been last year. That I've got a sneaking suspicion that at the 11th hour, Putin's going to pull out and go rogue.
You did say that. You did say that very early on, maybe episode 19 or 20.
Yeah.
You said, what about if at the last minute, as Lord Schwab is like moving all these little chess pieces into place globally, whether it's moving towards cyber polygon or the financial reset, what about if someone pulled their cards out? And what about if someone pulled out all their capital out of the plan? What about if someone had their profile erased from the WF website?
Yeah. Now, the reason why I said that is because I had quite a few deep conversations with people that understand Russia and Russian politics and stuff like that. And there was a bit of a contradiction because people were saying, well, Putin's going along with all the other world leaders, so you can count him out. And I think this was when kind of Trump was going to be the savior and all of that stuff. Now, it was suggested to me that Putin is literally going along with it because he's always had this weird relationship with the WEF. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. I'm losing track of time at the moment.
Me too.
He walked out from one of the meetings.
Yes, I remember this as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he was very quiet, and they didn't really ever sort of talk about him or allow him to speak at the WEF. It's got to be for a good year and a half. Now, even though he was still in the WEF, it's almost like he was in it, but not in it.
He's like the rogue element. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I mean, that kind of sounds like. I just want to sort of say, I'm not saying that Putin is the savior or anything like that. I'm not putting him into the sort of.
We're putting all the ideas on the table tonight, and then we're chewing the rabbit.
Yeah, but on the negative side of that, he could actually be, or he could have been given the task to basically crash the world. And he maybe didn't want to do it. He got upset about it, but then, he was put into a room and given no third option.
Yeah, he had the third option removed.
He has always been the bogeyman, though, hasn't he?
Yeah. Maybe he's the necessary evil. Maybe he maybe for the Hegelian dialectics to work, obviously he has to exist. So we're gonna have a short break before we go on to the next subject, which is the neo-Nazi element. We should have and when I say a short break, I just mean a single music video. Is everyone cool with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because we're 1 hour 40 minutes in, and we're obviously going to go longer than 2 hours tonight. All right, so we're going to take like a 3.5 minute break. This is Martial Law. Again, I think I wrote this in about 2016. Recorded it way before the Soviet Union.
Militant stairs. Militant stairs. Militant stairs. Militant stairs. Revive the military here. 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 Revive the military here. I never revive the military here. Revive the military here. Revive the military here. Did you revive the military here? Revive the military here. Gore-Tex boots, ankle holster, kit, low visibility grey. Shock troops, 50k taser, crowd dispersal energy ray. Flame retardant combat fatigues, 9mm Glock 17s. SIG, 516, carbine with high cap magazine. Red dot sight gun mounted flashlight, backup clip, strapped to his leg. Counter protest firearms officer, CS grenades across his chest. Strict orders, encrypted frequencies. Combat civil unrest, across all borders, untold secrecy. Rolled out on the streets of the west. Who invited the military here? I never invited the military here. Who invited the military here? Who invited the military here? Did you invite the military here? Who invited the military here? Yo, smoke clears on the battlefield. Now we can see the opposing force. These guys think they're freedom fighters, but they can't fight for the cause in skinny jeans, Doc Martin boots. Feeble frames are dressed in black. Mask face, dark balaclava, hammer and sickle, red communist flag. Minds filled with a poison doctrine, far left ideological trap. Hordes of social justice warriors, protest signs, poised to attack. Radical feminist virtue signals, poorly spelled in luminous green. Pay protesters are useful idiots, get used in numerous schemes. Who invited the military here? I never invited the military here. Who invited the military here? Who invited the military here? Did you invite the military here? Who invited the military here? Containment units dispatched en masse. Defcon 5, civil war. Activate the takeover plan, all drills are live. Martial law, post-revolution times. Life under curfew, learn to adapt. Laws of federal crimes. They signal virtue when you react, so better keep in line. Don't speak out or cause speculation. No more protest signs. Adjustment camps for re-education for non-conformist minds who dare to rebel or question the state. That's OSF design. Front revolution and crush the debate. Who invited the military here? Who invited the military here? Who invited the military here? In tactical boots and military wear. Who invited the military here? Looking at me with militant stares. Who invited the military here? Irrational troops and military gear. Who invited the military here? Boots on the streets cause imminent fear.
Yeah, we're back. I made that video as well. I had a lot of fun making that video. I've had a few comments there like, is Lance a prophet? No, I'm not a prophet. All it is that, ladies and gents, what I did is I spent 20 years really, really closely studying our enemy on a day-to-day basis. I read all of the documents that Zabriskie and Kissinger and Soros and all the people like that wrote. So I knew what was going to happen. That's why when I wrote all these tunes back in 2016 or 17, it's like, whoa, there's no way you wrote that. I get that all the time. That's bullshit. You wrote that in lockdown. No. All this stuff was written back way before this because, you know, it was no surprise to me that we were facing the culmination of the great work of the dark cult. So welcome back, Inner Guardians and Wolfie the Professor. Inner G.
Hello.
I think salutations. I thought you're still walking the dog, Master Lee. So yeah, seem to have a tune for everything. Oh right, you made a coffee. I seem to have a tune for everything at the moment, don't I, Master Lee?
Yeah.
Crazy that, isn't it? Yeah, I can't wait to get World War 33 finished. I'm going to get MC Spitter to do a chorus on that as well. Big up Eye for an Eye and Dom.
What you need to do, right? I mean, maybe you do already, but set the intention to get data, not from the ancestors, but from those in the future. And maybe you might get some downloads in the morning.
Okay. Next time I do a ceremony, I'm gonna make that the intention. Yeah. Speaking of ceremonies, I've got some really interesting or exciting ideas to share on Wednesday. Going off the back of what we said last week, I'll talk more about that on Wednesday. A little project that me and the Empress have been conceptualizing over the weekend. Really exciting stuff when it comes to nourishing your soul. So I'll be talking more about that Wednesday. Yeah, right. Back to the topic in hand, which is World War 33. We have talked about the ludicrous memes that are being produced. We've talked about the media fakery. We've talked about the unquestioning support of one side of this conflict that no one knows anything about by the looks of it. We have talked about the terrible, disgusting virtue signalling. Fair enough. We've talked about who is Putin, what does he want, what are his intentions. We've talked about biolabs. The next subject that we're going to get to. Oh yeah, we also mentioned that what is Ukraine? Where is Ukraine? What did Ukraine used to be 1,000 years ago? Could it be really super duper historically important, apart from the fact it's got all the gas pipelines and the lithium mines and stuff like that? It's always more than one thing. It's always loads of things, in fact. Always a spectrum of things.
Just a quick point before you move on.
Yeah, I'm still recapping. It's cool. No worries.
5G. So I'm not allowed to say that, am I?
Pento Jizzle has its own section coming up later on, Master Lee.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I'll sit back down.
Sit back down. Back of the class for you, sir. Right. So, yeah, we've talked about the ludicrous amount of numerology. It literally is World War 33. There's 33s, there's 322s, and all sprayed all over the place, scraping off the walls, Michael. We have, the dirty 33 Russian cronies. Right. We've also talked about this biolab thing. Right. Okay. So, yeah, here we go. Look at, just to finish off biolabs, China and Russia, a new bioweapons tango. Their joint statement is in light of rapid advances in the field of science and technology with dual use capabilities. Very important that. Science and technology with dual use capabilities usually means one of those capabilities is killing people. The risk of biological agents being used as weapons has increased. The statement wants to limit and keep under check US capabilities in this field. This is from 2021, October 14th. So Putin and Xi Jinping are already talking about keeping the bioweapons capabilities of the US in check back then. Right, here we are going now in the Guardians. These are two screenshots which you sent me, which actually come from UK Column. Am I right?
That's correct. Yep.
Maybe you could give some background to what UK Column is reporting on here, because we know that you've got big ties yourself to Russia because of your fighting historically, and also with your other half, she's Russian as well. So give us a little bit of background here.
Yeah. Also with security stuff I've done over the years.
Yeah. You've been working in Russia since the 90s, right?
Yeah, late 90s, yeah. Right, so basically, UK Column, love them or hate them, they do expose the truth and common sense. Now, they were straight on this whole subject, and they were, I would say, possibly one of the first alternative media groups or platforms to explain the relative history with regards to the troubles there, and they tied it back to 2014.
Yeah,
and then there's actually been, it's quite historical and it's documented. And all of these bullet points that they've quoted, you can check them. They're all factual. They're not rumors. They're not conspiracies. They're all factual, and they've all taken place. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is that they think that all this happened, or that it all started last week, when in actual fact this has been going on for some time, and
since 2014.
And like I said before, you've got a lot of Russians in Ukraine. You've also got a lot of Ukrainians in Russia. You've also got families where one will be a Ukrainian, one will be a Russian, and there's kind of slight ethnic differences, cultural differences, and differences of opinion. And you've also got different factions. Now, with those factions, they're actually being sponsored. Now, who they're being sponsored by is debatable, but it's kind of obvious.
Georgie Schwartz is definitely sponsoring some.
Yeah, so you've got the far right groups that go under various different guises or names. Now, they have been actively terrorizing, killing Russians in the eastern border regions. Now, this has been spoken about, and there's been a cry for help to Russia for many, many years. And Putin has been kind of, is obviously aware of it, but he didn't want to just rush in for obvious reasons because of what what will happen, like what's happening now. So it's kind of like been a build-up over a long, long time, and there's not been any let-off with it. In fact, it's getting worse and worse, as though they're going to go. There's something that's going to happen that was going to happen this year.
Yeah, this is no surprise to anyone that's been paying attention. That's really important to point out, right? Anyone that even has a cursory understanding of geopolitics, no one is surprised by the fact that this has been happening, because this has a huge pretext going right back to 2014, where there was open warfare. So it's acting, such a surprise. Oh my God, Russia's conflict with Ukraine. Well, no, it's no surprise at all. You sent this clip here in the Guardians. Now, you said that we've got Ukrainian far-right forces attacking Russian people on the border. But this clip here is apparently Ukrainian far-right forces inside Ukraine attacking other Ukrainians. I'll show this here. This is reported to be what it is.
You should give a bit of a warning for this.
Oh yeah, sorry. This is graphic. Someone gets killed here, right? Now these two guys here in these bulletproof vests, by the look of it, you can see that they're not soldiers. They're dressed in like jeans. So unless they're plainclothes special forces Russian military, don't look like Russian soldiers. Ukrainian. Sorry, yeah, Ukrainian military. Well, let's have a look. Oh, where's it gone? Here we go. You can tell that's real, the way the body's flopped.
He starts filming it.
He starts, whoa, okay, I didn't watch it this far before.
I think I sent you the shortened version. There's actually it's a little bit longer. Basically, they start taking selfies and stuff like that. Well, not selfies, but filming it.
So that is inside Ukraine, and that is Ukrainian forces
now,
reportedly doing that to Ukrainians.
Yeah, now, I've got to say this in advance. Now, I don't know whether that was a Russian Ukrainian or whether it was a Ukrainian. Now, what you're looking at is there's a lockdown in Ukraine, and what they're saying is anybody found out in the street during the lockdown will be arrested. Not saying killed, but that's obviously what's happening to this guy. Why it's happening to him in particular, I'm not sure, or whether this is just a regular thing if you're caught outside of the lockdown that they've got.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is, I did show this to Mrs. in the Guardians because there's a lady talking on it to sort of translate it, and her conclusion was that she's not 100% sure whether it could be fake, whether it could be propaganda, whether it could actually, and think about this, it could actually be put out by the Ukrainians to scare people not to go out. You know how the police were arresting people and beating them up during the lockdown, and they kind of look fake.
Yeah.
In the UK, to kind of scare people into these fines and regulations and restrictions and stuff. Well, this could actually be a similar type of staged event. For me, it kind of looks real. But it could also be real and staged, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, the third option.
So, yeah. So, for instance, the poor dude who gets shot, he might be an actor, as an example. They might have said to him, "Look, we're just going to do a bit of propaganda filming. Here's some rubles or whatever they've got in Ukraine. Just do a bit of acting," and then they actually shoot him for real.
Yeah.
This type of thing does actually happen with red flags and false flags and staged events.
Yeah, patsies can sometimes get sacrificed.
Yeah. So, yeah, this video it's brutal. Now, whichever way you look at it, whichever way it is in reality, it's not good, and it's being used.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fair to say.
But going back to UK Column, their approach was that there must be a bloody good reason why Putin's done this, and we want to know what it is. So they've done a deep dive into it, and they've come up with all these facts and figures and stuff like that, and information to basically prove that this hasn't just happened overnight, and that Putin hasn't
He hasn't just decided, oh, I'm going to take Ukraine back because I feel like it. You know, there's obviously, we're not going to hear about any of this in Western media. You probably don't even hear about this on RT. Because RT is a bit of a weird one. It's like, it's sort of pretending to be alternative to Western media, but it's not, because it's still sort of allowed in the West. So, I don't know. I mean, I have no doubt that there have been atrocities going on as described here. I've looked into some. There's stories of people being burnt in phone boxes alive by these far right militants because they were Russian nationals living in Ukraine, and they weren't like Russian Ukrainians. They were Russians living in Ukraine. So, yeah, there's plenty of stories.
There's a lot of confusion as to who's liberating who and who is actually being liberated. So, as an example, there is footage of Ukrainians celebrating that the Russian troops have arrived. There's also footage of Russians that live in Ukraine celebrating that the Russians have arrived. This is very, very complex, and to get some kind of truth out of this situation is very difficult, because you've got to weave through all of this propaganda, false flags.
Yeah, it's multi-layered propaganda as well.
Yeah. Which is the nature of the beast, and also the nature of war and geopolitics.
Yeah, because this isn't just a normal war; it's a war in the middle of the greatest apocalypse ever.
Yeah,
it's going to potentially be the war of the greatest apocalypse ever, or the start of it. So it's not just a normal KM Mafia funded war like normal. This is a special, super duper one.
What everybody's got to realise is that this could be the beginning of a new trend. Well, I wouldn't say trend, but it's like the beginning of the end of normality or reality. There has been lots of postulations with regards to the pandemic, that the pandemic was nothing. That was just the warm-up. It wasn't even the warm-up.
It's like the warning shot across the bow that also left a hole in the boat, which is going to be really vital later on. They could be really glad they made the hole in the boat later on when you drained out all the stuff.
Yeah, now, I have mentioned this before on Rise Above, that if you're going to go along with the theory of the synthetic universe, and that everybody's going to be uploaded at some point, that the only way that they could really pull it off would be to make this reality so unbearable.
Yep.
So this could be the beginning. Now, it may not even be physically. It may not physically be unbearable. It could end up being psychologically unbearable because of all the propaganda, because of the power that the media now has, and the control, and that there's no counter.
And then people will be sucked into the metaverse where they've got 1,000 times more power.
Well, think about it, right. I'm going to bring forward two things that could quite easily happen over the next 2 years. So the first one being the realization that those people that went to Britney Spears concert have actually given themselves Adrian's syndrome.
Hyacinth.
Right? So that's one thing. The second thing is that like war could take place. Also, they could use the war, or how do we say, the illusion of war, to justify the sanctions. And what do sanctions do? They bring about desperation. Now, look at the fuel. I actually imagine by Friday we may be looking at £2 per litre.
Wow.
I know that doesn't sound bad, but when you kind of add it to other things, and they could ramp it up over the next 2 years.
£1.50 a litre is bad.
I remember the fuel strikes when it was £1 a litre.
Yeah, people were pissed it was £1 a litre. I remember that.
Yeah. Now,
fuck.
I mean, that's another rabbit hole to go down, and maybe we can do another show with regards to
manufactured scarcity. Yeah.
So the other thing is as well. So if they can create this amount of terror, or the illusion of terror, because of the internet and because of media and so on and so forth, and the sharing of data, they could actually create this reality to be so psychologically unbearable. Now, it's okay at the moment because those people that have participated in the Britney Spears, they feel like they're on the winning team, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, all these people that are supporting Ukraine, I guarantee you, the only reason they're supporting Ukraine is not because they love Ukrainian people, it's because they want to chip in and ride on the back of the winning team, or the illusion of the winning team, because they're still under the illusion that USA, UK, EU, NATO, UN are the biggest. Not that they're right, just that they're the biggest.
Yeah.
And remember, these people, or this section of the population, albeit the majority, are cowards. They're spineless cowards, and this has been proven over the last 2 years. So what do cowards do? They want to ride on the back of the strong, or the perception of the strong. Now, what happens when they, as an example, what happens if Putin succeeds and the West, or the illusion of the West, fails, and that they got it all wrong, and they've got Adrian syndrome?
Holy
Complex.
shit.
Right, so
Gosh.
you put that two together, what psychological effect will it have on these cowards that got it so wrong?
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is literally what would just like give me the change of the Greater Reset right now. Like, I've got Adrian, I need a health passport and a continuous biometric jab update every 24 hours just to keep me alive.
And Putin's in charge.
And Putin's in charge of an ultra nationalistic Christian right wing world.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
rainbow
that
flag
would
is
be-
banned. The rainbow
that
flag
would-
is like, will get you a year in jail.
And remember, we're dealing with weak, spineless cowards. That would be enough to push them into the synthetic universe, even if
Oh,
it's
absolutely. Oh, what if the world turned into like Putin land? Yeah. Come and
And then
ride
Trump
unicorns in the metaverse. Oh yeah, Trump came back and he was working with Putin. Holy
By
shit!
wearing red ties, and a red pill tie.
Red pill tie. Yeah. Wow. So, okay, right, Wolfie. This is where I'd like you to chip in and tell us a little bit about what you have found out about the National Guard in Ukraine.
Oh yeah, I screenshot all of this and sent it
Yeah,
to
I've
you.
got it up on the screen right now, mate. This is from...
I thought it's best to screenshot it before the changes the timeline.
Absolutely, good work, mate. We've caught them changing the timeline once with Putin's profile on WF. So what have we got here? As of Special Operations Detachment, yeah, that looks like a cross between an SS symbol and a swastika.
Yeah, exactly. I would go and look at this and read this in its entirety right now to everybody watching. I was pretty amazed. I mean, the whole thing really struck me as soon as Putin said denazification. And I was like,
I'm just scrolling through it so everyone can see while you're speaking, mate, and then they can pause it if they want to zoom in.
Yeah, I was a bit taken aback by that statement. Denazification. What's he talking about? Denazification in Ukraine. And then I thought, and I found several articles on it actually. And this group really sprang up, and they were quite prevalent in 2014. They were, and they are an ultra right wing Nazist group, and they are. And here's a point: they've got people convicted of war crimes, of genocide and torture, kidnapping, etc. One of the things I read today, actually, was that the Ukraine are actually going to be releasing some prisoners to fight. So these are the prisoners which were guilty of
sweet. So they'll release some hardened terrorists and war criminals.
some real hardened, nasty people, shall we say?
Wow.
For want of a better word, some proper thugs, and they're actually releasing them, and they're from this group. This group eventually lobbied their way in and bullied their way in with the government to be the National Guard, and they're about 70,000 strong.
70,000 strong.
Yeah, it doesn't give that numbers, but certain other searches I've searched for, they're about 70,000 strong, and they are a neo-Nazist group.
Yeah,
Seriously guilty of some serious crimes.
Well, you tried
sort of-
telling that to the normie sphere. They absolutely reject that they're supporting the Nazi regime. They just can't compute.
Well, I had that
it's
conversation
true.
today with a colleague at work, and everybody's pontificating the crap that comes out of mainstream media, and I said, well, you do know their National Guard's actually a Nazist organisation. What? I said, the Azov Battalion, and they've got it up on Wikipedia, exactly the same. And I started reading it. Oh yeah, but you can say that, but they've not committed crimes, and I just scrolled down to the crimes that they've committed.
Hold my beer.
Yeah, exactly. These are really seriously. These are proper Nazis going on out there, and these are This is the group which has been attacking the LPR and DPR, the Luhansk and Donetsk region. And this is why that Donbass region has been reaching out to Russia and saying, "Help us, please, for crying out loud, help us."
Yeah,
because of this group.
Yeah, I had a conversation, obviously, when this all kicked off with Mrs. Inner Guardians, and I said, "Look, what is going on in Ukraine?" And she says, "Well, I'm not too sure of the detail, but you've got the Nazis of Ukraine." So this is common knowledge to Russians that there's such a thing called the Nazis of Ukraine, and that's what they're known as.
Well, if there's like at least 70,000 militarized Nazis, there must be tens of thousands of people with the same sentiment behind them, because a militant represents usually more than one civilian with the same ideology, because not everyone with the same ideology has the ability to become a militant, so by default that's normally true. So if there's 70,000 of these guys, how many more thousands of the other non-militarized Nazis are there in Ukraine? I have no idea.
Well, the thing is, you get these groups in America as well. This is a big group in America. It's a big group in Austria, and Germany of neo-Nazis.
So they they're probably linked with other neo-Nazi groups. They're sort of like splinter cells of maybe a larger organisation. I'm sure there's a massive rabbit hole to go down if you wanted to look into all this.
Let's all sit down, take a deep breath, right? So what we're talking about is, so you've got the majority of the population that brought into this health crisis, and they think that they're doing the healthy thing. You've also got all the libtards supporting Nazi regimes. How fucked up is this?
Well, that is the greatest apocalypse ever all over. It's the ultimate inversion, isn't it? Really, if you think about it, it's like we've been calling Donald Trump the Nazi boogeyman and calling all these people Nazis like it's going out of fashion, throwing it around like a cheap insult. You're a Nazi, and then when it comes to a war,
the people that are scared of death are actually participating in mass suicide, and then you've got those who claim to be freedom-loving liberals are supporting Nazis. I'm gonna coin this term the -3 option.
Oh God, it beggars belief, doesn't it? Really, like, how did we get to this?
And just imagine how fucked up this is. Really, we've got Shamina Begum sat in a bloody tent somewhere, in the middle of nowhere, because she thought she was doing the right thing to go and participate in those freedom fighting rebels.
Yeah, they're freedom fighting rebels. They were fighting. So who are they fighting? They were fighting like Iran, a massive invading state. They were fighting Russia. Oh yeah, they were fighting Russia, weren't they? ISIS.
Yeah. She sat over in a bloody tent. And then you have Liz Truss over here saying, "Hey, I'm going to support anybody who wants to go and fight for Ukraine."
You get 3 cases of Molotov cocktails when you sign up, comrade.
Yeah.
We'll give you an AK-47.
Well, the other thing
Molotov cocktails.
The other thing to factor in, right, is that Putin has just sent in the lowest grade soldiers to do the first assault.
Yeah.
He's got his top tier special forces, FSB, and the Chechen forces waiting on the Belarusian border. and various other
Look,
places.
they're in, aren't they? The Chechen forces, but they're only just in, and they're kind of sitting back for the moment.
Yeah, but there's a lot of them.
Well,
I mean, this
were you talking to me about like Chechens that were apparently? No, wait, isn't it? Were you telling me that the far right were apparently smearing their bullets with pig blood before fighting Chechens? Were you telling me this story? Or was it
That wasn't me, but no, I've seen it.
Yeah, someone else was telling me about this today, and they were going about how this is a potential war crime because these Nazi militants that have clashed with Chechens before, they would smear the cartridges for their assault rifles in pig's blood before shooting these Muslim Chechenians.
Yeah,
Holy
Majid
shit.
Nawaz made a post about that on Twitter, actually. He's a very interesting guy, worth listening to, and I don't know if you watched his
Who's
interview
that,
with
sorry?
Joe Rogan. Majid Nawaz.
Oh, yeah, he is a very interesting guy, actually, yeah.
And I don't know if you watched his podcast with Joe Rogan.
I saw some
3 hours
I saw
long.
some clips, and he spoke a lot of sense in that. Some
Worth
really good
watching
sound.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
Very, very smart guy. I used to listen to him on LBC, actually, and
Yeah, it's a bit of a red herring to be someone that is in the mainstream, but literally does actually talk complete sense. I don't know how
yeah,
he
well, he
gets
was sacked because it was.
Is he been completely sacked now?
Yeah, he was sacked.
Right. Okay. There you go. Problem solved.
But Neil Oliver on GB News, the Coast guy, has been getting him on occasionally.
Right. Okay.
I used to listen to, I think it was Talk Radio at the time. This is years ago. It's like in the late 90s. And there was a presenter on there, and I can't remember his name, but he used to present on television. Now, he said something that was quite profound to me, and it kind of changed quite a lot, because he said, anything that you will see or hear on the mainstream media will not affect you physically. Okay. And he went quite deep into it. And after that, I got rid of my television and I stopped reading and watching any news and stuff like that, unless I wanted to translate it. Shortly after that, he was fired. I can't remember his name. It will come to me. I'll dig into it.
Majid Nawaz made another very interesting point, actually. That all the time the West are pushing Putin. They're pushing, and Putin's going into the arms of China.
Yeah. They're forming an enemy out of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
All he wants to do is cooperate. I mean, I don't see any aggression from him at all.
And you've just shown the receipts of him forming an alliance with regard to bioweapons.
Yeah, because he felt like he was getting threatened by the US, so him and China had to say, wait a minute, we need to maybe step in here before these guys just like surround us with dangerous bioweapons factories. Look what happened in Wuhan. That wasn't our work. That was funded by Fauci.
A few days ago, they announced that Germany was going to switch off the pipeline, the gas pipeline from Gazprom into Germany. So that's finished.
Yeah, this is literally. The more and more I think about it, this is so much of a more important event than the Soviet Union. Like that was just a warm up. That was probably just to implant the idea of digital passports into our heads.
It was training.
Yeah, definitely
training.
Right, let me introduce the next super controversial aspect to World War 33, and the code for this, and please Wolfie follow this, is wireless pentagram or pentojizzle, because we can't say what it is.
Oh yeah.
I'm showing you a map which is right up to date. It's an interactive map. It's from Ookla, which is probably, I think, the best speed test you can get, and it shows how many active new wireless pentagram installations are going on in each different country or region of the country. Now, this one is zoomed out. What is the first thing that we notice here? First of all, about this massive empty space that has no wireless pentagram. It's called Russia. Mongolia also has no wireless pentagram. Neither does Kazakhstan. Anyway, now, before I go any further and we talk about Putin, when you look at other places on this map, i.e. most of Africa apart from South Africa, it has no wireless pentagram. It has no pentojizzle. Do you know what it also doesn't have? It doesn't have any COVID deaths either. All the countries that don't have wireless pentagram coverage, if you look on the World Health Organization, their ratio of deaths to population is tiny compared to the Western and other developed countries, and some non-developed countries that are covered in pentagrams. Funnily enough, if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, if you zoom in to the UK so you get it on one screen, you can see a particular number hovering over what we've called the head of the snake, or the centre of the evil empire, which is London, and the number is obviously 666. You couldn't make this shit up, really. Just a coincidence, I guess. So, is it the case that they actually don't have a wireless pentagram in Russia whatsoever?
Only for the military.
Right, okay, let's have a look. So, this is from 2019, from the Moscow Times, translated. Putin reserves key wireless pentagram frequencies for military use, media reports. Russia risks falling behind the rest of the world in next generation of wireless pentagram technology after President Vladimir Putin has reserved its most popular frequency range for the military and intelligence services. So I think that's actually the 5G range. So what they're doing is they're putting it on the 3.4 to 3.8 gigahertz. Oh, right. So China and Japan use 4.4 to 4.99. They use the full range of wireless pentagram. Putin wants to restrict it to 3.5 gigahertz, and the rest for the military.
Putin was one of the first to come out and say that it shouldn't be used because it's military grade.
It's military grade weaponry, basically. Yeah, this is a military grade weapon. Can you keep it away from my population, please?
Am I going to be allowed to go dark?
Of course.
At what point?
Well, wait a minute. Let me just see how many slides I've got left, because I'm trying to stave off your whole rabbit onslaught. Well, we've still got like flight paths. We've still got Musk to talk about. Then we're almost full rabbit. So we've just got Musks and flight path. Bit of Soros. Yeah.
I mean, you might touch upon what I'm going to speak about anyway. So.
I think you. Okay. Well, yeah. We'll just get rid of this, and then you can go whole rabbit. So yeah, there is definitely something about this. Why Putin? Maybe Putin doesn't want his country to be surrounded by invasive wireless pentagram as well. Who knows? Okay, yeah. So what does George Soros say about this? Back in 2014, this is when the problem in Ukraine first started. In Maidan, there was basically a massive battle. There's a big loss of life. Not really something that's talked about a great deal. Ukrainian youth sit near a fire. Late night in Kiev's Maidan. Different president back then. Mass murder of protest. But Soros is just like, keep the spirit of Maidan alive. What, the spirit of where you fought in a battle and decked a city and loads of people died? Why do you want to keep the spirit of that alive, Soros? You want to keep the spirit of the revolution alive. That's what I said. That's OSF design, to fund revolution and crush the debate. That's the Open Society Foundation design. Create these revolutionaries and then, crush the debate so they can't talk and create a war. It's the same blueprint over and over again.
Keep the spirit. Look at the word spirit. What are they really talking about?
Entities keep the spirit of Maidan alive. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it's some ancient evil spirit.
Speaking of ancient evil spirits, Elon Musk activates Starlink over Ukraine as rockets fall on Kiev. More en route. What does he mean he activates Starlink? What's this for though? What is he going to start using it for? Like laser guided, satellite guided weapon systems? Is it to provide internet for people as their pento-jizzled towers are knocked out by Putin? What has the internet got to do with this, which is so important? Is that going to be knocked out? Doesn't the internet come from undersea cables? Do we get no internet from satellites at the moment? I don't know what to believe. But why is Musk being injected into this story? Interesting.
Theatre.
Yeah, theatre. Into the theatre. Maybe it's just publicity. But obviously someone has put this together with the gematria calculators, Elon Musk's sent these satellites to boost internet service for Ukrainians after a country official asked the SpaceX founder for help. So if you put Elon Reeve Musk in, you get 69 in reverse full reduction. You also get New World Order, the Jesuit Order, and Illuminati out of that. Okay, fair enough. Elon Musk activates Starlink satellite to give Ukraine data backup. Starlink 112, Catholicism 112, Mathematics 112, Internet Jesuit 42, which is 4 days and 2 months. You know, I'm not going to pretend I fully understand all this stuff, but
Well, I can add something to this.
Go on.
If you go back a slide.
Yes.
Right. So 69. There's a number missing. What number would that be? It'd be a number 3. 369.
369.
Gives you the triad. Gives you the triad, yeah, in terms of the occult. Move to the next one. So you've got 112.
Yeah.
So you could have, what does that make? It makes 4. You could actually, that would give you 13. If you add the 1, you get a 13 out of that, which would be 1 3.
Well,
then you've got the 4 2, which is 2 3s, which is 6.
Or you could say that the 2 1s could make a 2, and the 1 and the 2 could make a 3, so that's 2 3s, so that's 33.
Yeah.
1 1 2 could be seen as 33 as well, quite easily, by an occultist.
Yeah. It's just, as I was quickly looking at them, I tend to look at things in terms of 3s and how I can get 3s out of given numbers. So, yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I did that in seconds. I mean, if you give me more time, I can probably get something a lot more juicy out of that.
Absolutely. I know people go, that's the reason people go back and watch these shows like 4 or 5 times to get, like, go back and pause the screen and get more out of it. So, loads of 42 in there. Neuralink 42, Internet 42, Jesuit, Freemason. Yeah. So Elon Musk has injected himself in. Now, Wolfie, you've sent me a load of screenshots of flight paths that look really weird.
Yeah.
Right.
Very weird.
Okay, so on the screen here, we've got flying from Bryce Norton, flying from Milik, flying from Meadenhall. I get, yeah, so these are flying across. They're flying in like squiggly lines and basically flying around in a circle. That's thin air. I'm just going through.
There's a lot of training flights. There's a lot of training flights.
Is that what we're looking at here? These are training flights, yeah?
Some of them, not all of them. There was even today. I sent you quite a few today.
Yep. Coming to those.
Around Bryce Norton, there was a lot of helicopter training flights and a lot of aircraft training flights. Those training flights have actually been going on in mass groups for the past maybe 2 months. I've been watching them happening, and we've been training something chronic. And you can get onto Google right now if you want, and actually put in earthquake in, I think it was Birmingham, and it was last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. An earthquake in Birmingham last week.
It wasn't. It was a F-16 fighter. It was an American fighter which took off from Northolt, and it flew up to Skegness, and then it flew right to the top of the country, and speed of sound broke the barrier, had a sonic boom, and all the locals in that area said, "Oh, it's an earthquake," and it wasn't an earthquake at all. It was an American fighter jet.
Right, so for people that aren't in the know, when you fly a supersonic aircraft, it is a bit of a faux pas to break the sound barrier over a populated area. Yeah, it's illegal. That's a very important point. If that doesn't make sense to anyone, because if you do that, you can smash windows, you can pop eardrums. It can actually be quite serious, right?
Unless there's mitigating circumstances. That's the point. If there's mitigating circumstances for them,
like in a time of war.
Exactly, like in a type of war.
So what you're alluding to here is that there's actually a lot. What we're showing here with these weird flight paths and all these training flights.
Scrambled last week. That aircraft was scrambled. It was heading somewhere. There's a lot of others with weird flight paths which are off the east coast, sort of Skegness and up
Yeah, I've got those on the screen
sort of
right now.
hole. And there's
Wolfie, can I just
Yeah.
ask a quick question? You're probably more aware of this than myself. Has Heathrow stopped flights?
No. Still going in.
Okay. Has there been
Still
any
going in,
restrictions? No, I read somewhere that there's been that Heathrow was closing because of they didn't say it was to do with World War III or anything. They said they made it some other excuses.
No, I've not heard any restrictions. I've not seen any no terms or anything like that with regard to it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so we've got these shots on the screen here, which is showing the sort of west coast of the UK by the Isle of Man, and a lot of flight activity.
Yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, those three from right to left, three you've got. I mean, they're two American jets which are flying around, and they've been flying around for a long time. And of course, we've got English jets going up and down as well, Hawk, as well as Tornadoes, and a lot of them is training. The one you got on the left, okay, on that side, flying around Belarus, that's a British spotter plane. And it's not just looking at the border of Ukraine, it's looking at the borders of Belarus as well.
Right, okay.
And there's quite a lot of them. There's been a lot over the past, I'd say, 3 weeks. There's been a lot of the, it's the UAV, the one that looks a bit like a dolphin.
Yeah.
I can't remember its name. Flies about 52,000 feet. And it flies for about 28 hours. It's incredible, its flight time. And that's been going on for maybe about a month, all over the Ukraine.
I just want to interject quickly. I've just quickly Googled about the flights, and there is actually something going on the 26th of February. Let me just make sure I've got the right.
It was 2 days ago.
1 second. Oh, phone's playing up. You able to Google it there?
I can give it.
Wait, it says here. I keep getting these adverts pop up.
Is it Heathrow?
British Airways cancels all short-haul flights from Heathrow today.
Oh, actually, no. I did hear something over the weekend.
Let me check
It was to do with an IT error.
Okay, 2 days ago, Furious family stranded at Heathrow after British Airways cancels all short-haul flights from the... Yes, you're absolutely right, Master Lee. Because long-haul services from Gatwick and London City Airport after technical issue. Paralysed IT systems cause flight cancellations. Oh, shit. This is starting to give me cyber polygon vibes.
Yep.
Uh-oh. I've just had this nasty premonition, man.
Which was also a potential threat from Russia when it comes to cyber attacks.
I'm taking my crypto offline tomorrow. I'm putting it in safe. I recommend that everyone's got crypto, take it offline. Because things might get a bit. Imagine if you looked in your crypto wallet and it was empty. Oh, sorry, it's been hacked by Russians. Imagine if Coinbase got hacked by Russians.
Yeah.
Exactly. They could blame the Russians. Sorry, this is Lord Schwab says it was the Russians. It's cyber polygon, comrade. Yeah, get your crypto offline tomorrow, everyone. And when I say offline, I mean take it offline and put it onto a USB stick and keep that somewhere safe so it cannot be hacked. That's what I mean. If you have crypto, that's my advice.
Well, it's either a massive coincidence or there's something going on.
Yes.
Oh, there's definitely something going on.
Big up Epic Rising. I saw your email, mate. I mean to reply to it. I can't, unfortunately, push one particular crypto on the show. We made that decision before we started Rise Above. But check out Epic if you like. He's got some videos.
I'd go for decentralized crypto, if anything.
Yeah, I need to sort of maybe look at changing my portfolio in the light of recent events because I haven't been up to date with stuff. Anyway, that's a different show. So
you need to buy some rubles.
Yeah, I need to buy some real golden rubles.
If you go back onto those flight passes, flight paths from sort of Skegness, Norfolk area
Yeah, northeast. I've got here whole
north, and you'll find possibly around 2 fighter jets and some Dassault Falcon 2000s. You will usually, yeah, they're very odd flight paths. And have you got the Dassault 2000 on there? No, you haven't.
Is that the next one? Here we go.
The Dassault 2000 is there's usually 2 of them and accompanied by 2 fighter jets as well. They're sub hunters, so they go around flying around watching submarines. Okay, yeah. So there's Dassault Falcon 20 on there, which is the third one along. Zodiac 51 call sign. So that's flying around, and that was flying around today. That was a screenshot from today. They've been going around for maybe months and months. That's a sub hunter. It goes around flying around for subs. We used to have 2 methods for looking at submarines. We used to have the old Sea King helicopter, which had a giant sonar underneath, and we used to repair them down in Fleetlands, down in Gosport, a long time ago. Real heavy bastard helicopters they were. And then we had these, and we've had these Falcon 20s for a long time. It uses different technology. But that's what they're looking for. And I thought, well, that's a bit odd. So I looked at the news and looked for subs. And there's actually several reports dating back for about 2 to 3 months of submarines around the British coastline. And I think there was one where a Navy ship just nudged one of the nuclear submarines, a Russian submarine. But there's also happening in the States as well. So we do now have about 3 nuclear-armed submarines off our coastline, and so does America. So when Putin said any intervention from any other countries, it will be met with great force and very, very fast, very swiftly.
Yeah.
I would worry.
Putin he doesn't mince his words, does he? He uses
No,
that as what he says.
I think he's deadly serious because I've watched the airplanes looking for those submarines.
Is it fair to say that you are like the version of apart from your professional capacity, you're like a bit of a train spotter, but with planes? So this is your hobby, and this is something.
No. I'm not a plane spotter.
You're not a plane spotter.
We you know what? We used to take the piss out of the plane spotters when they used to come around the hangars, and we used to get the black insulation tape. And we used to change the numbers, the registration numbers on the back of the aircraft tails.
Has this been sent to you by train spotters, or have you just thought to look because you've seen what's going on geopolitically?
Yeah, I've just thought to look, really, and there's several of us doing it actually. So I've got another friend who's a Hungarian who I work with, and another friend, Indian, my friend Ketul, and there's 3 of us really, and we're just looking at this stuff periodically and just pinging each other all these messages and saying, look at this one, oh my god.
Wow, okay.
You know, one of the things that struck me today was there was a Russian plane landing into the Crimea, which I thought was very odd. It was oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the plane. MD. It was a troop carrier. It was.
So there's a lot of military movement, basically.
There's not been a lot of There's been very little military movement from Russia. There's been huge amounts of military movement from UK and America, and they're watching the Ukraine and Belarus like hawks.
Wow.
And they're flying around our coastline. And the training has been going on a lot more than normal. Huge amount. So they're actually training pilots. And it's like they're anticipating going in. They're anticipating the order to deploy.
Worrying. Worrying indeed.
Yeah. There's definitely a real thing going on.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I put the. Can someone in the admin sort out this spamming from the hot girls in the chat room? Someone's trying to spam our comments to get us taken down.
Yeah.
Don't know if anyone's seen that. Yeah, can some admin sort that out, please? Sam Carno.
Well,
so yeah,
that's confirmation that we're actually getting some traction.
We've been under attack quite a lot tonight. I've already blocked 4 people out of the comment section for spamming sex chat rooms and stuff like that. So yeah, it's always on the more controversial shows where something like that happens. Funnily enough, Al Gore's boogieing behind us. Okay, so that is the end of the presentation. I think we've covered all of the different aspects of this story. And my mind has been sort of evolving throughout this, and my opinion of this has sort of been flickering. I came a little bit more neutral at the start, but the more and more I'm looking at this, here's my opinion. On one level, I think that Putin is resisting Lord Schwab and the WEF. I think that on one level that is happening. Whether Putin is genuinely, authentically doing that himself and believes in it, or he knows that he is playing a role in the greater plan of whatever happens, there's going to be some huge reset because of the chain of events, the snowball and the domino effect after this financially and economically.
I don't think we know the greater plan.
No.
And I've thought about this because I think you're right. He's definitely fighting it, but whether that's part of the plan to fight it,
I don't
know.
Exactly.
And the thing is, you've mentioned Trump a couple of times as well, and Trump is good friends with Putin. And I go back to the UN address he did in 2019, and he was saying basically nationalism is a way forward, not globalism.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that's kind of what Putin's doing.
He's championing.
It seems like what Putin's doing. I would, Lee, can I ask, what's your take on the symbol on the military vehicles, the Z?
Oh my God! Do you know what? This is exactly what I was going to talk about.
Here we go.
Let's go deep.
Let's do it. Full rabbit time.
To be honest, I've had to pull out of this one because it just keeps going on and on and on. So as an example, right? So have you got a picture of one of the tanks?
Wolfie, did you send me one? I think I've got it here. Let me just find it. Carry on, Inner Guardians.
Right. So there's been this kind of mysterious thing, even within military circles, that they've spray painted the letter Z or Z on the tanks, which kind of doesn't fit into the Russian language, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, there's been quite a few versions of what it means coming out of Russia. Nobody really knows which is the correct one, or whether it's disinfo, or it could actually be occulted symbolism. Now, the most obvious thing. Well, now, let me start again. Right. So, what the normal version of the meaning is that it stands for Code West. Okay, so they're actually going west. So you could look at that in two ways, because from the perspective of Russia, you would be going west to go to the east, yeah. So it basically means those tanks are destined for the west. But it's kind of like weird. Why would they tell everybody what direction they're going in? It really doesn't make sense, and for tactical reasons and other reasons. Now, some people are saying it actually stands for zombie. Okay, now, if you look at World War Z, that could actually be a premonition for, or predictive programming for what's taking place right now. Now, other things to look at from an occult perspective would be the year that World War Z came out. It was 2013. That gives you the 2 3s. That gives you the World War 33.
Oh shit!
2013.
Gosh.
Yeah. Now, then when you add everything together, the biolabs, the 2-year pandemic. Now, there's always this talk about people becoming zombies, and then you've got
been talked about throughout the whole of the Soviet Union. It's been a running theme that about this is a zombie apocalypse. There's been a preparation for zombie apocalypse put out by the CDC.
Yeah, and then there's also this thing where people are saying World War Z actually means World War 3. But people are trying to work out, well, how do you get 3 from in Russian? I mean, I asked Mrs. Inner Guardians about this, and she kind of said, well, it could kind of mean that, but not quite. Some people are saying it means 33. It's some occulted way of saying 33.
We're getting absolutely spammed at the moment because of what you're saying. I swear, we're getting totally spammed by chatbots.
Well, I think we're getting very, very close to something now. So when you factor in pentagrams, the biolabs, World War 3, World War Z, zombies, it kind of starts to make a lot of sense. Now, maybe Putin knows this, and this is why he's had to do this, because he's actually going to thwart potentially what is to come, World War Z. And he's telling everybody by putting Z or Z on the side of the tanks.
I can't find those pictures either. I was sure you sent me to them, and I've just sent them to me, and I've just looked through, and I cannot find them.
Have you seen the symbol on the Chechen tanks?
No.
It's a V.
What is it?
A V.
A V, as in Victor.
Or
V.
Or Vladimir.
I've got a theory about it.
Okay.
During the Second World War, there was an Australian, not military, paramilitary group. They were of civilians that volunteered, and they used to have a tattoo with a dagger going through the letter Z. They were sort of like foreign assassins, if you like. I can't remember the name of the group.
Okay.
But John F. Kennedy Jr. had one of those tattoos on his arm. It was a dagger, and I think the V is to represent the dagger, and the Z is the Z of foreign assassination.
I'm just about to find that picture. You sent that to me earlier. Here it is.
Yeah, and just to quickly say, and somebody's mentioned this in the chat, there is no Z in the Russian alphabet, which is exactly what Mrs. Inner Guardians pointed out. And this is why it's confusing as to why they would put Z on their tanks. Now, like I said, probably the only tactical thing it could mean would be which area they're heading towards, or it's like a code.
Yeah, but why would you paint the direction of where you're going on the side of your tanks? You just use your radio to communicate when you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, it's obviously occulted symbolism, and so for instance, if you associate Z for World War Z, and then the V, it could be V for Vendetta.
Wow.
You know, if you put the two films together, it's probably a good explanation as to what's taking place right now. Because remember, the way to find out the truth is through fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the truth can only ever be told in through the mechanism of lies or fiction.
Wow, this is World War 33. I'm really glad that I came up with that one. That's another one in the bag.
It's not by accident.
It's not by accident. It's not by accident that World War 33 was first declared on 3/22. The day, I'm just repeating this from earlier for anyone that missed it. It was declared on 3/22, the 23rd of February inverted. The day after the number portal of all the twos. And then 3 hours, 30 minutes into the next day, 33, Putin dropped the first bomb, striking 33 targets, as reported by the parasite media. It's like this apocalypse is getting pretty intense. Yeah, it's not many times I'm speechless. It's like when I was finding all this stuff over the last couple of days, I thought, when this all started, I thought, we're going to have to obviously do a Ukraine special. Has anybody else noticed whenever we take a Friday off, something mental happens, and we always have to do a special broadcast?
I think you're going to have to do another one of these because this Ukraine issue is escalating very, very.
Wow,
something else you've got to factor in, right? What's the date today?
Today's the 28th. It's the last day of February. 1st of March
Okay,
tomorrow.
what's the date tomorrow? 2nd, yeah. What's
No,
the day
the
after?
1st.
3rd. Sorry, 1st. And then
Yeah.
so basically this week we got the 3rd of the 3rd.
Oh fuck! Oh shit! What day's that?
Thursday.
That's Thursday. Well, we're broadcasting on Wednesday night,
Thursday.
so we'll be able to talk about this on Wednesday. Yeah, for anyone that's wondering, we'll be back on Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
So I recommend on the 3rd of the 3rd for everybody to keep their boots on.
Yeah, put your sturdy boots on, the kind of boots you might, if you had to kick a window in, those type of boots.
And have your grab bag ready.
Ooh.
I think something's happening.
Did you just say that? Have a grab bag ready for the day 33. Shit.
Yeah,
I'm listening to a lot of the Russian announcements. And another thing they said was anybody helping Ukraine is going to be considered as interfering, and they already said don't interfere.
Yeah, Putin very clear. He said, "Look, just don't interfere, and you won't be harmed. This is a special military operation that I'm going to be taking part in. We're going to complete this military operation. If you get in the way, the consequences will be very severe, and they'll be instant."
And that's it. And RT News today had a little bulletin saying Russia are considering that anybody who aids Ukraine by sending military equipment or personnel or whatever into Ukraine for Ukraine's assistance is considered interference.
Well, basically, the whole rest of the world, even civilians in other countries, are being goaded by their own governments into interfering and helping Ukraine. Now, let's think about what you've just said there, Wolfie, and then put it into the context of what Liz Truss has been saying. We support regular working people that have no military background. Go and join the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. Have a Molotov cocktail and an AK-47 on us, comrade.
That's literally what they're doing.
Yeah, it's absolutely mental. It's
Do you want to know what one of my notes is?
Yes, go. Let's do your notes because we're now approaching the last part of the show. We're almost at 3 hours. Monday night.
Well, I've finished most of it, but I put one note, and I'm not sure why I put it. Well, I do know why I put it, but it was kind of a subconscious thing. I've just written down the self-suicide of the West.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. That's absolutely what it is. If there's going to be a war, it's because the West has triggered it.
Yeah. I mean,
and I'm looking at Putin. I'm thinking, actually, that's a pretty fucking cool place to go anyway. It's only 30% income tax, and they don't spray shit in the skies.
They don't mandate the Britney Spears concert. They don't have cultural Marxism. They hate George Soros.
They don't have GMO foods.
What more do you want?
It sounds like a pretty fucking cool place to be right now. Actually.
Yeah.
We'll go to Russia.
Well,
here's one for you. Right, it's purely hypothetical, but everybody's talking about this breakaway society.
Yeah.
What if, whatever happens in the next few days, weeks, months, even years, that at some point the breakaway society could be in Russia?
How long does it take to sail to Russia? I need to take some boats with me. I need some. Wow. Well, I tell you what, we've got like 10 minutes left. I think we've done a pretty good job tonight, even if I am being a little bit self-congratulatory there. I reckon no one needed tonight to cover any of the other side of the story because the parasite media is doing that for us. We wanted to try and cover the other side, and I think we've touched most bases. If anyone feels like we haven't touched most bases, please email us and we'll save it for the next customer services, which won't be too far in the future, because we do like to hear feedback about what we're doing here. That's really important to us at Rise Above. Yeah. So, World War 33. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? We might as well wrap it up.
Yeah.
Get your bug-out bag ready.
Yeah, have a grab bag ready. This could be it. I mean, we don't want to beat fearmonger or anything, but we've all been sat around for the last 18 months. Most of us been thinking, well, this is going to go somewhere else apart from this stupid, pathetic, fake pandemic.
Yeah.
Maybe this is where it's going now, to World War 33.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to think about is the 50-50 division. I mean, that's just a term. I'm assuming it's not 50-50. It's probably more like 95%.
Yeah, 95-5.
But it's in terms of the dialectic and the 50-50 division, it's more, I'm talking more like as an individual basis. So we're basically being filled with doubt and hesitation, fear and surprise. They're the four poisons to humanity and the warrior. And I think it's fair to say that everybody's feeling this 50-50 division within themselves, because even with this show, you know, is it this? Is it that? Is it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And this is what the media does. It's spellcasting. It's creating this dialectic, inner dialectic of doubt, fear, hesitation, and ultimately surprise. Now, coming to the surprise bit, there's two things you've got to factor in. One is, what can you do about any of this at this moment in time? Not a lot. Okay.
Yeah, not
so that's
much.
one part of it. And what are you doing about it? There's not a lot we can do. But actually, like Wolfie suggested about getting a grab bag at the ready, maybe this is the sort of thing that you need to be doing. Now, for the last 2 years or so, those on the awake spectrum have been going on about like depopulation and New World Order and all of this stuff. Well, maybe, you know, this is it, or this is the beginning of it. What are you actually going to do? How prepared? You've had 2 years. You know, you've been, not you, but the awake have been sharing all of these conspiracy theories, conspiracy facts. But what have they actually done in preparation for what they're actually saying is coming?
Yeah. What have you
So I
done
think
to get your house
needs-
in order? What have you done with your finances? What have you done to prepare a quick evacuation of your family?
Yeah. And this is the direction that I'm going in, because physically there isn't a lot we can do. And everybody's going on about off-grid and all of that stuff. Well, to me, that's pretty much a waste of time on a physical level. Whenever I speak of off-grid, I'm speaking more mentally, psychologically, emotionally. Now, that doesn't mean disassociation or denial. Quite the opposite. It means taking the third option.
Yeah.
And having a state of preparedness. Now, when either within the martial arts or any fight training, the third option is always used. It's used as a point where you're not left or right. You're in the middle. You're prepared for an attack from the right, from the left, and it's kind of a mental, psychological, and emotional state of balanced preparedness. So basically, you don't lose your shit when the shit ultimately hits the fan.
Yeah.
And I think these are the things that people need to start looking into. And without going on too long, if you are going to go down the path of prepping, you also got to factor in state of mind, because I've seen so many people, they're obsessed with this prepping thing, but they haven't prepared their mind or emotions or psychology for an event of that proportion. Now, without that, without the state of mind, without being calm, collective, and being able to action tactically, whatever it is, whatever plan you've got, whether it's to bug in or bug out or whatever it is, without that state of mind, it's going to be a waste of time. It would actually probably be detrimental, and you'd probably just have a slow death rather than a quick one.
Deep. Sorry, guys. Bad news, I'm afraid, for Master Lee. Slow death for a quick death. I'm joking.
Yeah, but yeah. So this is a common mistake in the prepping world, and anybody that's kind of new to prepping, they go out buying this, that, and the other, and whatever. Yeah, bit of survival kit, but they don't prepare the mind. Now, for those who don't know, I spend probably 93% off grid. but I spend probably 99% mentally off grid. Like I say, that's not disassociation. That's not me being in denial. That's me being in the third point of perception and keeping a balanced mind, keeping the hemispheres of my mind balanced, using the third eye as an example, using inner tuition. These are all qualities that we have, and obviously they've been dampened down and definitely dampened down with all the psychological operations that we've been under over the last 2 years. And so little things like experiencing discomfort and being okay with it, becoming a little bit more stoic. Now, the other thing you've got to factor in, some people might think that all the lockdowns and all the restrictions created discomfort. I think quite the opposite. I think that made people very comfortable.
Yeah,
and as a consequence,
it increased the comfort.
it made them very soft, becoming dependent on the nanny state and being told what to do. There's no critical thinking. There's no, you don't have to think on your feet. You don't have to, well, basically you don't have to think at all. Now,
you don't even have to go and get food anymore. Someone will bring you anything straight to the door. You don't have to do anything. You don't even have to do anything.
I think it's a shocking state of affairs, actually. And I've watched my family, friends, 80% of the people I know, and they've delegated their critical thinking out to mainstream media and politicians.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what they've done. They've delegated their critical thinking.
They've outsourced their decision making. Yeah.
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 Now, I'm too busy.
Anybody that is considering prepping or off grid or anything like that as an option to what's coming potentially, and I've said this all along, that you should go out, do a bit of camping. Don't just get all this stuff set up in your bedroom or whatever. Do a bit of camping. Try and don't eat for 3 days. And I'm not giving medical information.
We don't give medical information here at Rise Above. Never, ever.
But try living on baked beans for a few days. Try living on tin food. Acclimatize yourself to discomfort. Obviously, don't take it too far. Get a bag, and go for a long walk. If you're going to bug out, how do you know you can actually get to your destination? And then when it comes to bugging out, you need to have maybe 3 options, like staying at home, a close range bug out place, and a distant bug out place. And how are you going to get to it? People are dependent on their cars. Well, hang on a minute. By the end of this week, there may not be any fuel. So why not have a bicycle? Why not have a skateboard? I don't know. Whatever floats your boat in terms of transport. But you've got to think of transport that doesn't require fuel.
As well as that, I mean, by the end of this week, there could be a bloody great big blast that will blow. The impulse will blow every circuit board and every car out.
Yeah. That's something that is on that solar event that keeps getting talked about. The solar flash, like the Carrington event, that could fry with the microchips. What if that happened? I'd take it back to the Stone Age like that.
Even a nuclear blast. I mean, there's 2 types of nuclear devices which the Russians use. It's a tactical nuclear device, which is targeted. It's a small area, and that's tactical. And then you've got what they call strategic nuclear, which is the big blast. That's the one that will hit London and travel 75 miles.
Yeah.
Well, it's survivable if you're protected, but it's going to blow every car out.
Yeah, and I don't think that World War III or 33, I don't think we're under the threat of kinetic war. I don't think it's going to be conventional that we've always known it, using the same weapons like kinetic war. I think it's going to be economic sanctions are going to play a major role. The shutting down of bank accounts.
Yeah, that's what World War 33 is.
That's one of the things which has worried me as well, especially if Russia are going to make this parallel society, which is a completely different banking system. Because one of the things they're going to do is they're going to say, look at me, look at us, we're so bloody wonderful. We've got this zero debt-based system, and we've got a whole new financial system. Who wants to come and join us? And it's at that point, is the who wants to come and join us, where every other nations, it's just going to turn out like Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Wow. That is food for thought. Okay. All right. We've hit the midnight hour. Literally, as we've just said, it's going to turn into Hunger Games. But we don't know that for sure. And we are always putting all the different ideas on the table here. Wolfie, I want to say a big thank you for joining us tonight, mate. It's been great to have your insight, as always, with your
Thank you for inviting
expertise.
me.
No. Thank you very much, mate. And Inner Guardians, I will see you in 2 days' time when we will continue our chat deep part 2. Do you give us a 10, 20 seconds summary of what you're going to be talking about or going into in the second part for anyone that maybe didn't catch it?
Yeah, I will be recapping some of the things we spoke about last week. We'll be going obviously deeper into some of these things, but most importantly, I will be speaking about what we can do about certain things. And I've got quite a lot of things in the pipeline. As I've mentioned to you in private, there's been lots of things going on in my personal life, and I'm under attack. Especially the more I decult things, the more under attack I seem to get. But I'm standing strong, and I'm doing well, and I'm transforming it. And part of that process of transforming the denying force is that it's actually opening a lot of information for me, and I'm getting lots of downloads and inspiration in intuition for solutions. So I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff, and
Me
I
too.
was planning to start the stuff in March, which is the 3rd month of 2022. So I will be going more into that.
Okay.
So stand by.
And I want to talk about our joint project, which is going to be allowing a portal for people to feed their ethereal body, like I was talking about. We'll be back on Wednesday. Everyone, thank you very much for joining us. Wolfie, Inner Guardians, rise above, guys.
Rise above.
Right, I will see everyone in 2 days' time. I should have had this bit ready. See you guys later.